The Blue Jays, come on, Joe! You'll never hit a bigger home.
1939.
Come on, Joe!
Tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring.
The Blue Jays are World Series.
Edmonton store.
Come on, Joe!
Presented.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Mr. Ruther with Peterson back in there.
We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on this?
With Peterson back in there. Peterson at the basket.
You'd be surprised what we find.
You know, once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Rooter.
Wow, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
Every goal, every Selly. The place to cheer on your favorite team is Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge. Never a bad seat in the house, with all games on tons of big screens. And Selly's menu, top shelf. Plus, check out the game night food and drink features. And don't miss the excitement of Oilers watch parties all season long. Experience Selly's Sports Bar and Lounge at all 3 Century Casino locations: Edmonton, St. Albert, and Century Mile.
Every day is game day at Century Casino.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
What a wonderful Wednesday afternoon. How are you? And welcome to the Jason Gregor Show, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday. You've probably been waiting patiently. It's 3 weeks since the Oilers played. You're like, all right, got through the Olympics. It was great until the ending. And now the push to the playoffs. And it is going to be quick. It is going to be, I think, entertaining. We're going to see who's going to fall in, who's going to fall out, more importantly. And I was looking last year, the St. Louis Blues, they made up 8 points after 4 Nations to get in the playoffs. The Montreal Canadiens, they made up 5 points, and they got in the playoffs, knocking out the Detroit Red Wings. And do you know who the St. Louis Blues knocked out of the playoffs last year, who was in a playoff position when we returned from 4 Nations? They haven't been the same since. The Vancouver Canucks. So, will we see 2 teams who are out of the playoffs right now make it in the playoffs? If you need a refresher, very simply, you got Colorado, you have Minnesota, and you have Dallas. Currently is the 1, 2, 3 in the Central. You got Vegas, Oilers, Seattle, 1, 2, 3 in the Pacific. Utah is in a wild card spot, as of the Anaheim Ducks. The LA Kings are currently 3 points out of a playoff spot behind the Ducks and the Seattle Kraken. Both have 63 points. The Kraken own the tiebreaker because they have more regulation wins. Now, that's the thing. The Kings probably aren't going to win a tiebreaker on anybody because they only have 14 regulation wins on the season. 14. Wow. So, but they're not out of it. And Vegas is resting all of their Olympians tonight. So the LA Kings are going to rest their Olympian and Darcy Kemper so he can go back-to-back tomorrow against the Edmonton Oilers. Makes sense. If I was the LA Kings, I'd be doing the exact same thing. You're looking and saying, like, there's no way we should not be able to beat a Vegas team that is without all of their Olympians, right? Like, you look at the lineup that they're icing tonight. It's going to be rather thin. So, Lazon with Anderson, McNabb, and Coughlin, Ben Hutton, Keegan Korzak. So, no Jack Eichel up front, no Hannafin on the back end, no Mark Stone, no Mitch Marner. Hey, doesn't mean they can't win, but it's an interesting decision by them. Connor McDavid, what did we say yesterday, Cons? Like, zero chance McDavid wasn't playing. First of all, they only have 12 forwards. Second of all, that guy loves to play.
Who would have been the coach to tell him you're not going tonight, Connor?
Yeah. Well, he's not hurt, and you know what? He hasn't played a game since Sunday. I think he's fine. I know he had some travel, for sure, but you know what? Didn't have to go to the rink yesterday. Comes out today, takes a brief little tour. And, I'm sure he's not going to play 25 minutes, but I'm not going to guarantee that. I can't say for sure that he won't. Because what if they get a ton of power plays? And what if the game goes to overtime? He's probably going to play. You can have a strategy on how much you'd like him to play, but every game is different, and things always change. So we'll kind of see where that goes. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. You can text us in our inbox. The Oilers will get to the lines. Ooh, some combinations that I kind of like. So see the third line wingers, Frederick and Podkolzin. As the kids say, and when you coach U13, you hear a lot of lingo. Let him cook. Let him cook. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Adam Henrique is going to center them tonight. Draisaitl with Savoy and Roslovic. Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and McDavid. And then that leaves Lazar with Janmark and Mangiapane. Defense will be the same. Ekholm, Bouchard, Nurse, Wallman. And then you have Emberson and Stastny playing on your defense. Regula stays down in the AHL for the time being. You want to get him as many games as possible because obviously he's probably not going to get in the lineup. PlayAlberta.ca, of course, title sponsor of the show. Casino, sports, live dealer, lottery, instance, they got it. No one won last night. So Friday's Lotto Max, 70 mil and 10 max mil. And tonight, the Gold Bog jackpot in the OG of lotteries, Lotto 649, 36 million. So get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. We have a loaded show for you. Mike Rupp will join us right off the top. Paul Sir, talk a little hoops. We got Tyler Yaremchuk. We got Ritch Winter is going to join us today. Business of Sport. Now, this is going to touch a lot. We're going to touch hockey. We're going to touch college football. And we're going to touch a sport that is getting a lot of traction globally. Many of you are playing it. Many of you feel you could probably go on tour. You're that good. Or maybe not, but we'll see. So we'll touch on that in the I didn't know that you have a CEO of Pickleball. It's that big in the U.S. So we'll touch on that. I know it's obviously growing in Canada as well. There's obviously more pickleball leagues all the time. I know there's people talking about that they want professional pickleball. And a lot of it is former tennis players, which just leads me to the question. How many people watch the senior tour of golf? Connor Halley? How many? Like, there's some I know. I don't ever really watch it. Some people do, but I think it's a lot smaller than who watch the PGA. Do you want to watch a bunch of people that have retired from tennis play pickleball? I think it'd be a fad. I'm just saying. I don't know if pickleball has the staying power. I could be wrong. We'll see.
Jeannie Bouchard.
Lots of people are playing it.
She might have some pull still.
Is she on like the pickleball tour?
I think she's pro pickleball now, yeah.
Oh, okay. Less injuries.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Greg's, wait till Tiger tees it up in the senior tour. Yeah. Well, he might do it. He's actually quite a ways away age-wise. He's still got quite a few years before he can go to it permanently. But, yeah, I don't know. He might. But there's lots of big names that have gone to it, and it's just, and I get why. Right? Like it's good, but it's not great. So, hey, boys, is Szymanski with the team? No, not yet. They got to make some moves. Like I said, we would have known that yesterday because they would have had to put somebody on waivers to do it. So I think the Oilers are still trying to. Stan Bowman is doing everything in his power, and we've been saying this for over 6 weeks. Like, this is not a surprise. This is not a new story that the Oilers, like, you can go back in November, December, there was talk of trading Andrew Mangiapane. It didn't work out from the get-go. And it still hasn't worked out. And if Mangiapane scored tonight, I don't think that's going to change. I don't think all of a sudden the Oilers like, you know what, this guy's going to be the answer for us. I don't see it. So obviously Stan Bowman's still working. Facilitated trade there. That frees up some cap space. It would also free up a roster spot. And I do believe that the Oilers would like to bring Josh Szymanski back. I know somebody said, well, you could just waive the veteran. I understand it. I don't think they want to. For now, do I agree with that notion? No. And I don't know. Maybe they're going to give him one last hurrah. So, see how it goes. Hey, Gregor, if the Oilers waive Mangiapane, how much goes against the cap? Well, everything but 1.15. So he's a $3.6 million player. He would go down. His cap hit would then be in the minors. He would count as around 2.45. So you'd save 1.15 million. And then you could call up Szymanski. But that's how it works. You're not saving a ton, really, because you got to replace him with someone. So Szymanski's making $925. So basically, you're saving, like, what's that, 100, almost 200 Gs? That would really be it in the cap because you got to replace him with someone else. So that's why they need to move him off the books. So 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. Spec will also join us 5 o'clock hour. Andrew Knoll, beat reporter for the Ducks. The Quackers, hey, they're getting big news. Their point-a-game guy is back. The youngster who was scheduled to go play for Sweden at the Olympics got injured, hasn't played since January 10th, but he is back. And that's big news for the Ducks as they are, like anybody, and I'm talking about Carlson, of course, they want to get in the playoffs for the first time. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2018, so they missed 7 years in a row. But Leo Carlson, point-a-game player. That'd be a huge, that's almost, it would feel like emotionally, oh, this is a trade deadline acquisition. We just got a new guy back. Just new guy comes in, hasn't played for 6 weeks. So that'd be good for the Ducks tonight. We got Dustal. The Ducks got some good young players. The Oilers last year coming out of Four Nations, lost 6-3 to Philly, lost 7-3 to Washington, lost 3-1 to Tampa, lost 4-3 to Florida. Was not good. The Edmonton Oilers have not lost 4 games in a row this season, but they enter tonight on a 3-game losing streak, and they need to get going, to put it mildly. The Kings are playing a very short-staffed Vegas Golden Knights team tonight. They win, Oilers lose, Kings are within 2, and they got 2 games in hand. So trust me, the games matter now, maybe more than we would think in a late February, simply because of how tight everything is. So that'll be good. The other thing about the Oilers tonight is they've had success against the Ducks, winning 12 of their last 16, but the Ducks have won 3 of the last 5, including the last 2 in Anaheim. Now, the Oilers defeated Anaheim 7-4 in Edmonton on the 26th of January. Wasn't, that's when Granlund had the hat trick. They scored 3 power play goals. That was kind of the start of the trend when the Oilers just stunk on the penalty kill. So they got to get back to it. Tristan Jarry, like, when I look tonight, he may be my number one guy to look to say, okay, how's Tristan Jarry look? Because he's got to play better. He's got to be more consistent than he was since being acquired since Pittsburgh. It, to me, has to happen. Has to happen. Hey, guys, I hope Mangiapane scores tonight multiple times. Maybe someone would take him off their hands. Steve from Drumheller. Dare to dream, Steve. Dare to dream. I don't know if one goal would do it. Heck, if we scored 2, maybe. But even then, I don't know. I don't know. Hey, guys, there's talk Woods can play a championship tour event prior to possibly playing the Masters from Phil. Well, yeah, sure he could. But my point is, if he does, how many people are going to watch it? If he wants to go play, knock socks off. That's great. My point is, even Tiger Woods, who is the biggest name in golf for the last how many decades? Definitely in this century, no question. Would he draw that much attention to the Champions Tour? Would you really watch it? Honestly, I'd be curious. You might early, but I don't know if he'd be sustained. Like, Tiger's not the draw that he was because his body's just unfortunately broken down. He can't make the shots that he used to make where you would watch and you're just like, this guy, like Tiger Woods, yeah, he was literally stalking his competition at times. He was that good. Right? And he was much watched TV if you were a golf fan. No question about it. But I don't know how many. Well, let me know. You're a diehard golfer. Would you watch the Champions Tour regularly if an aging, broken down Tiger Woods is on it? You'd watch every week. Okay. I think he might say that now. I'm not sure it would last. Now, Tiger Woods, because you barely see him, it's like, oh, you know what? You want to relive it. I get it. We're nostalgic as a creature. We love nostalgia. There's very few people who don't get caught up in it. Why do you think clothing trends come back in? You have songs that were super hot 40 years ago. Now next generation comes in. Somebody rewrites the song, re-sings. Everyone's like, oh my God, this song is great. And the people who heard the other one, like, oh, I don't mind it, but I really like the original. Now it's just who we are. So yes, I can see why you watch Tigers. You're like, yeah, but he might dominate again. And that's why you'd watch. I just don't think it's going to move the needle that much. I could be wrong.
Pacquiao and Mayweather or Tyson coming back again. People want to see it. How likely?
Even though you know it's a train wreck.
Yeah, you know it's not going to be great.
Yeah.
They want to see it.
Hey guys, my dad's the Alberta Summer Games pickleball champ, 55 plus category from Dr. Wang. What happened to your athleticism, Wanger? That's what I want to know. What happened? Are you starting pickleball? Are you in the is there like a bar league for pickleball? I remember they always used to have the slow pitch teams. I'm just curious now. I could see there being that, Cons. I could see it happening. Right? I could see it, radio stations. They used to have a slow pitch league as well where they'd all play against each other. I could see someone starting a pickleball league. Right? I could see Josh, Declan, Brandon, Donovan all playing and all taking it way too serious. And that would be awesome. 100% I could see it. Deck would be like, hey, I could be the champ within probably 6 months of playing.
Oh, Duke for sure. Duke thinks he could hit off a major league pitcher. So for sure he thinks he could be pro.
Oh, does he actually think that?
He thinks it's not 100 pitches, it's 100 at bats. He thinks he could get a hit, I believe, is what he says.
In 100 at bats. And which pitcher?
Well, we throw out the big names, of course, but I think a major league pitcher.
Okay, but like when he says 100 at bats,
because he thinks he'll wear them down. But I'm telling him, he'll get worn down.
I was just gonna say, you think Duke's gonna stand in there? Like the guy's just gonna strike him out. 1, 2, 3. The guy's like, okay, so that's still 300 strikes. That'd be a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm saying every time Duke, anytime he makes contact, the vibration in his hand, I think that's going to play a role in it too. So I think he'd slow down. But we do want to try to set up a challenge with maybe the Riverhawks or something and get him out there.
Let's even just do 10. Let's just start at 10. Now, and remember, we're talking a hit. So there'd have to be infielders. So it's not some little dwibbler. Or is he saying I could just make contact?
No, I believe it says hit.
Okay, because you could probably pull off a bunt, right? Maybe.
I don't know.
Even that would be tough. Like, I'd be up for that.
If I'm playing catcher, maybe.
Like, I think one of the hardest things to do in pro sports is hit a baseball. I think honestly, like hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, my God, that's crazy. But then you throw in guys now are throwing 96, 97-mile-an-hour slurves and curves. Like, what? Come on. No. And even the young guys. And look how hard they throw. I think Duke would be in for a little bit of a awakening.
MTR says it was Scooble, he said.
He'd hit Scooble?
After 100 at-bats.
Was he sober when he said this?
I hope so. He was here.
Oh, yeah.
It was 11 a.m.
11 a.m. Well, say 5 o'clock somewhere.
Now, do you think easier or tougher to return a serve in tennis?
Then hit a. Ooh, that's a good one.
Like actually return it, not let it hit your racket. Send it back.
I think it'd be hard to return it. Yes, very much so. You got to play a lot of tennis. Number one, right? Because it's not just like you got to. Not only do you have to hit it, you have to be able to control where you're hitting it. So easier said than done, but yeah, that'd be interesting. You get 100 serves against, like, I don't care, the Joker. Well, right now, imagine if it was Sinner. No, I think the average guy would not be able to return a serve. Now, somebody out there has probably played tennis and maybe you got on the junior tour. Well, you would at least have a standing chance. But people who just go out there with their buddies and play tennis, 3 times a year, no. So, now the interesting thing is, Cons, the tennis racket, I have more area to hit the ball. Now, I know that if I catch it off the edge of my racket, right, or the tighter part of it, like right near the edge, you want to obviously hit in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
But you might be able to get lucky on one, like get a piece of it and it goes up and somehow lands. Like maybe. I think it's harder in baseball to get a piece of it by luck.
I agree. A wider range, though, that the pro could fire the shot at you a little bit. Like, we're talking baseball. For this situation, Duke has to get them coming down, like, in the strike zone, right?
Yeah, dude, you think they're worried about they're going to throw curveballs all day?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Breaking ball, then a curveball. He's going to have no clue what's going on.
With tennis, he's going to have to shuffle side to side. And then that one that comes right at you, how do you play that? Handcuffs you?
Yeah, and he has to hit a forehand and a backhand. So, like, if it's Duke we're talking here, like, I don't think he has a chance in either one. Like, no offense, Duke. I would say the same for myself.
Myself as well. That was part of his confidence. I had to say, like, I'm not saying I could do it.
Like, I will say that now it's batting practice. It's totally different. But when we did batting practice, and I remember that, went to the morning and the guy gave me tips on, okay, this is how you swing, adjust your swing, do all these sorts of things. Now he was grooving it and I like down the pipe and, you still hit it. But there was like, I don't know, it was probably coming like 65. So, like pretty easy. You get up to high 80s, low 90s now, which is what a lot of these guys can throw. Yeah, I don't. Let's start like 10 outs. Could even get one hit on 10 outs. This summer, we're going to line this up for sure. I'll talk to Steve Holgel. We're making this happen. Oh, God. What we should do, we should make it happen. We could have crowd come down to watch before a game. I like it.
I'm in. Yeah.
I'm in for sure.
I'll play short. That's where I think the majority of any contact he makes is rolling.
Guys, way easier to turn a tennis serve. The tennis ball isn't going to possibly take your head off from hacksaw. True, but that doesn't mean it's easier to hit. You might feel more comfortable, but if I'm going up against a major league pitcher, the guy has great control. He's not up there trying to bean me. He's just like, I'm just going to strike this jump out. Right? He's just going to bring the heat. So that would be fun to watch. We'll take a quick break. Mike Rupp will join us. It's always a question. Like I've always said it. I wish at times we need a reset with pro sports because you watch it after a while, we get a little desensitized to how hard it truly is. There should be somewhere where you get the average guy, he comes out and people get reminded like, oh my God, look how much faster they are. Look how much stronger they are. Look how much bigger they are. Like it wouldn't be close. Because you know what though? Because there would never be a shortage of guys who think they could do it. There'll never be a shortage of them. And that's okay, right? If you don't believe you can do something, then what's the enjoyment of life? When you're young, Duke's in his 20s, yeah, he's still at that point in his life where he thinks he can do things that he probably can't. But hey, that's how lots of people get married, right? Never know until you ask. So there you have it. Hey, guys, you should start mandating drug testing for Duke. No chance. Duke's a lot of things, but he's not a cheater. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
A pizza from Papa John's is already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So, when you wake up to no heat, call Legacy, call Legacy. If you need it immediately with no overtime rates, call Legacy, call Legacy. If you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC, call Legacy, call Legacy. No payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Something strange comes to Rogers Place.
Family Fun Sunday. Your Edmonton Oil Kings look to capture a win from the Swift Current Broncos in the annual Ghostbusters game.
Who you gonna call?
Meet Ghostbusters characters on the concourse during the game as members of the Alberta Ghostbusters take over. Plus, enjoy the Kids Fun Zone with face painting and bouncy castles.
Then score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is Stay Puft Marshmallow Man sized. The Oil Kings Ghostbusters game this Sunday at 4.
Great seats at Rogers Place start at only $20 at oilkings.ca.
Do you work for a company that wants to reach people who love sports? Or maybe you're looking to hire people who love sports. Sports 1440 partners with dozens of local businesses, connecting with tens of thousands of Edmonton sports fans every day. On the radio, on the listening apps, on YouTube, and on social media. Contact our sales team today to see what Sports 1440 can do for you. Email Gregor at sports1440.ca to get started.
Planning your next event? Let Loca Quality Market cater. From made-to-order meals to gourmet platters to full chef tasting experiences, they make entertaining effortless. Visit loca.ca to start planning today.
The job won't wait. Why should you? At AWS Welding Supplies and Repairs, conveniently located in Nisku, we've got everything you need to get it done. From product sales to servicing and calibrating machines, we're your one-stop shop. We're a proud, locally owned and operated business, committed to serving our community with a proven track record of customer service. Don't let a broken tool slow you down. We offer fast repairs and free same-day delivery of in-stock items to Leduc, Nisku, and South Edmonton. AWS Welding. We make it happen.
McValue meals are here. Get the McDs you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, junior chicken, or chicken snack wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Sometimes you think about what you're going to do in the day. Go to work, pick up the kids from school, make supper. But at GS Construction, we think a little differently. Winter is our season to plan and to improve. We study, we innovate, we train. So when the thaw comes, we're ready to dig, build, and deliver even better, which means we need people like you. If you're thinking about joining the team at GS Construction, now's the time to do it. To apply and to see how we think, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by UL. Get your power play amped up with UL, supplying the City of Champions and Alberta with quality electrical gear since 1975. UL.ca is your partner in power.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Devin, welcome back. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Hey, Greg, that sounds like pros versus Joes. Yeah, a little bit. That was more scripted. And, you saw it on TV and everything. And, yeah, hey, I get it. But I'm just saying, if you had that on a regular basis, it would ground people. Because the longer you go without it, more people are like, oh, I could do it. I could do it. So, no. Because if you could do it, then you would have went and done it. It's just that simple. Right? And anybody's like, oh, I could have played junior. Coach didn't like me. Okay. Right? No. If you're good enough, you'll get seen. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. 833-401-1440, 833-401-1440. We're going to get Mike Rupp on the show right now as we go to our big guest of the day, brought to you by the Spruce Grove Saints. Exciting BCHL action again this weekend down at the Thompson Family Arena in Spruce Grove. They're in a big playoff push. See if they can make it. Get your tickets, sgsaints.ca. Is NHL analyst, former Stanley Cup winner, Mike Rupp joins us. Rupper, how you doing?
What's up, Greg? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. It was quite an Olympics. It was quite the gold medal game. Obviously Connor Hellebuck stole one for his country, no question. Nathan McKinnon missed one for his country, and it was a really good tournament. Like lots of close games, lots of overtime. My only thing would be in the gold medal game, I would want 5-on-5 moving forward instead of 3-on-3.
Yeah. I mean that's something that I would love to see. I was kind of looking and kind of seeing and getting gauges on different people. I've heard a conversation or an angle that I found was pretty interesting though, but I still would like for it to be 5-on-5. Is I'm not sure the type of goals that we saw. You never guaranteed anything, right? So it could have been an ugly goal in 3-on-3. It could bounce off a shin pad, but I feel like the way Stanley Cup playoffs are with sudden death 5-on-5, a lot of times that is the kind of goals you're going to get. So maybe in this situation, you had nicer goals to show off the skill set. That's what the Olympics is about. But I agree with you. I think it's an argument that maybe you don't have those as nice goals, as skillful goals if it's 5-on-5. But it's already a one game to decide everything. And this is a perfect situation that Canada deserved that game. Like they deserved the game, but at the end of the day, they didn't find a way to close it out. And that's sports, and that's hockey, and it's frustrating. They've got to kind of sleep with that and deal with that, and it's tough. But I think that's the one thing and the one reason why it's like I either would want it to be 5-on-5 overtime because it's a single game elimination, or if some weird world we had a 3-game gold medal, I guess, series or best of, then I'd be okay with 3-on-3 at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I do hope that the World Cup, when they bring it back in 2028, goes back to a best of 3 final. I think it'd be way better. But here's the thing, Rupper. I don't think they want a best of 3 in the regular season. They might have to go back to doing it in September, and I'm not sure the NHLPA wants that. Yeah. But I actually think it's better.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But here's the beautiful thing in all this, and this is kind of the thing that I think the NHL as a whole is going to be and is in a good position to kind of just hear everybody out here, make some decisions, because this is anything World Cup related or whatever else non-Olympic is all NHL. It's governed by the NHL, so you can make up and figure out and change everything you want. It could be NHL rules, NHL referee. You could do anything you want in this situation. So I think this is a really good time for the league, and I know that they are doing that, where they're going to say, okay, we like this part, this element seemed to work. Maybe this is an area where there's been some public outcry. We'd like to switch these things up. So it's a fair point, and I think that'll be taken into account before the World Cup.
Mike Rupp joined us. So now, Rupper, we turn to the NHL season and the stretch run. It's a real quick sprint here over the next 9 days to the trade deadline. We've already seen one trade. I really like the trade. I'm kind of perplexed. Everybody's like, oh, this is a really good trade for Pittsburgh. And I'm like, why? Honestly, like yesterday when I saw the trade, I was like, I think this means Sidney Crosby isn't coming here, because if you wanted to win in the playoffs, you keep Brett Kulak over Sammy Girard, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I mean that's one thing that we've seen, and you obviously being in Edmonton, like there's some good times. Brett Kulak played pretty well in the playoffs for the Edmonton Oilers, and he's a defenseman that can defend, and it's just kind of, you know, the element of it from Pittsburgh's standpoint, though, I think as you get Sam Girard, younger player, that second round pick I think was huge in this kind of factoring in this case for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's, I mean, they're all gas, Greg. It's like they've got defensemen who push the pace, and that's the way their team is. Their team generates some of the best opportunities in hockey, and they kind of leaned into that a little bit more, and maybe you'll see a even more offensive, productive Sam Girard. But yeah, no, I like this one for Colorado. I mean, Colorado, if we're going to nitpick their game, I still don't think they defend overly well. Some of their underlying metrics and their numbers and the analytics will say otherwise, but some of those for me are skewed because they're so good offensively. You know what I mean? Like when you have the offensive numbers, it automatically will help your defensive metrics because you're playing with the puck a lot. So yeah, I think it's they get a player who can come in there. He's got a lot of experience going deep in the playoffs and can play a shutdown role. So I like this move for Colorado.
Yeah, I like it a lot too. You know, there are obviously some names out there for sure. I think there's certain teams that are going to move, like the Seattle Kraken. I don't know if they would be a buyer, but I sense that they're going to try to be a buyer. What do you think?
You know what? You and I have talked about them all season long, and we were kind of waiting for that time to be like, I don't know if it's like jumping on them or whatever, but it's like I feel like they need to pick a lane. And they've been in this in-between, like maybe it's best for them not to be good right now and to be sellers, but then here we are, they're in a playoff spot right now, and when you're talking about being close to 60 games into the season, like, I mean, you got to go for the playoffs now, and every team wants to make it there. The one thing that changed my opinion on them is I've heard it from different people, and I've got it on good merit, and it's been out there too. I think Elliot Friedman reported it. Seattle Kraken had a $60 million deal on the table for Artemi Panarin. And I don't know if that was a 4-year or 5-year, but that to me opened my eyes where like they understand they've still got to build this fan base. They've got, and the best way to do that is get into the playoffs. And, you know, that to me was, they obviously weren't able to land him, but shows the appetite of this team. So that leads me to what you just said. I think I don't know what the market is for big name players, but I bet you they're kicking the tires on a lot. And I think it is paramount for them after this stage of the season. They've got to get in. They've got to continue to build that fan base out there in Seattle. And when you've gone through about 60 games and you're in a playoff picture, you better find a way to get them over the top.
Yeah. Well, I kind of don't know where they're at. They're kind of stuck in that murky middle of, I like to call it NHL purgatory. They're not bad enough.
And I'm not saying I agree with that way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know where they are, but it's not, like, I guess that's my point, is that at least they're picking a lane right now. Like, they look like they're going to make a big push to get in. We'll see if it pays off. But yeah, I agree with you. They're in this middle ground purgatory that's it's not a good place to be in the NHL.
No, not at all. The Tampa Bay Lightning, are they kind of running away as maybe the best team in the East?
Yeah, I think so. I think that there's a decent margin between them and the next team. I mean, tied in points right now going into this last home stretch. I mean, they are tied with Carolina. I just think to myself that the same questions we've always had with Carolina, we still kind of have with them. They're a very good team. I mean, that's probably the closest team I would say to Tampa. But and I just think that for some reason just think Julien Brisebois got a trick up his sleeve. This is a franchise that always does it. I mean, we talk about Vegas all the time, making the move when you don't think they can make it. I'm interested to see maybe if they do, but maybe they don't need to make a move, because what we saw this year with all their injuries, they've just located and found these players that stepped in. So all of a sudden, if you're healthy, you're going to the playoffs. And this year, you've shown that you've got like 8 NHL caliber defensemen. And there's going to be some good defensemen who have played really well for your franchise that are not going to play in games. So maybe they don't need to do anything. But to your point, yeah, they're the cream of the crop in the Eastern Conference.
You mentioned Colorado and that you want them to defend better. Bill Guerin's riding a pretty big high, of course, just GM'd U.S. to a gold medal. He acquired Quinn Hughes earlier this year. He signed Kaprizov to a massive extension. You think he's got one big move left? Do you think there's a chance he moves Wallstead or Gustafsson before Friday?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Vinny Trocheck. I mean, that's the biggest, worst kept secret I think out there, is that this is something that is a fit. Obviously, with the experience there, I think that's your move if you're the Minnesota Wild. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, because there's not a ton in the cupboard because of some of the moves in the past and the way this team has kind of moved into that mode of winning now, and what they had to give up for Quinn Hughes. But Wallstead, yeah, I mean, that's the piece. If you're talking about expendable pieces, and it's tough to say that on a young goaltender who's been awesome like he has, and to get picked as high as he has. But I mean, you've got Gustafsson signed. Like you don't have to have both of those guys. And I don't know. You got Marc-Andre Fleury practicing. Like part of me is just sitting there like seeing this picture of Flowers just going to come in there and he's going to sign and he's going to be their backup goaltender, and they're going to go get Vinny Trocheck. It just kind of feels like that's inevitable right now. But he's going to do something. Billy Guerin is going to do something. He is a go-getter, and he made it very clear right now, dating back to the Kaprizov signing. And then the Quinn Hughes edition as well. Like he is going for it this year, next year, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think he kind of has to. Obviously, he's going to want to sign Quinn Hughes to a pretty big extension, and that's going to be their challenge. So we'll see where it goes. What do you make of Vegas and all of their Olympians sitting out tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. This is one of the things I was watching and coming back to this, and you're sitting there. I don't know the circumstances for everybody, if you're talking banged up or whatever. But then some teams are in more dire situations than others. But I understand it from a standpoint, but then I also don't love the message. Just as far as, it makes it feel like tonight's game doesn't matter, and that's not the case, and I don't think anybody else that's playing in that game feels that way. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird circumstance. It's something that I wasn't expecting seeing, but I kind of, like everybody else, I think was watching. All right, most of us are probably watching the Team USA guys because of where they've been and not being back on Tuesday, and if they were going to play. But and then you start seeing around the league some other players that were out even earlier in the tournament haven't been on the ice yet or back with their respective clubs. So. Yeah, I mean, I don't overly pay attention to it. We'll see how the team plays and kind of, I guess, go from there.
Rupper, what do you make of the Oilers? And you know what? Hey, Connor McDavid, they've lost back-to-back cups, loses a heartbreaker in overtime. Is named the MVP of the tournament after being named a Conn Smythe Trophy winner beforehand, but doesn't have the championship. How, if any, do you think that alters him? Just make him hungrier for the playoffs? You get emotionally spent? What do you think happens with McDavid here down the stretch into the postseason for the Oilers?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, it seems exhausting I'm exhausted hearing everybody say the same things about, he hasn't won. Like, what else do you want the guy to do? I thought Sidney Crosby handled the post-Olympic press conference really well, just saying that he gave everything, and it was very interesting seeing it up close and personal, how Connor goes about and leads. And yeah, I mean, I would think for him, the way he's built, it's going to, I mean, how much more hungrier can he be, I guess, is where my mind is, there's frustration, I'm sure. So, I don't know, because I sit there and I look at this guy and I think to myself, like, I don't think he can do anything more. And maybe that's what makes him great is he'll find another level that we never thought he can get to because he seems to do that all the time. But, I think the bigger thing is like just not – I think most people it would dull them a little bit. It would almost like numb you to certain things. And I think the greats of the greats in sports, they use it as motivation. And it keeps happening here with Connor in the last 2+ years. I don't know what else he could do though. So yeah, I'm looking at him from that standpoint of just continually getting better and leading this team. But yeah, it's tough, man. As an American, I'm sitting there. The one reason why I wanted Canada to win, Connor McDavid and what he does and what he means to the game of hockey. So he'll be hungrier, but I don't know how much hungrier he could be.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't think he's hungrier. It's harder to be, full in as he is. He obviously played very well. They couldn't get it done. And like, I still can't believe that Nathan McKinnon missed the empty net. Like, and here's the thing, Rupper, that I find unique in how a lot of people analyze games. If a goalie lets in a weak goal, people rip him. It's got to make that save. Got to make that save. It's a weak goal. A guy misses an empty net. I missed the net. Like, it's wild to me. Missing that empty net is more egregious than letting in a weak goal. I'm sorry, it is. That's a wide open net that you have two Mississippis to hit the net.
Yeah, that was a tough one. I'm sure he has lost sleep over and will probably continue. Honestly though, more so into the play. Not to pick on him. It just here's the thing that I think with Nathan McKinnon. And you're talking. I have him as the second best player in the world. I mean, Leon's right there for me. But I probably have Nathan edging him out. But here's the thing that I feel like we see with Nate is when the pressure situations happen, he's still very good. He's so tightly wound that I just feel like things happen, and it always isn't a positive thing for him. And I'm not saying that he missed that shot because he's so tightly wound, maybe, but we've also seen frustration from all those things that maybe are negative at times are also the things that are strengths of his. And he's an absolute bull, and he'll go through you and everything. I just wonder where he was at mentally in that game because even the winning goal, like Greg's, that's his puck. He hesitated twice going to get to that puck. And then you had it's two hard strides and nobody, when I say nobody in the NHL is going to take that puck away from Nathan McKinnon when he plays with that type of conviction. He didn't have conviction on that play. Yeah. And then he gets kind of thrown off the puck by Zach Werenski and then kind of circles away from him and allows that play to happen. So I'm not blaming everything on him. It's just something didn't seem right in that situation with Nathan McKinnon. I guess that's the one thing I still think in those big games, I don't know what you're going to get from him. You're going to get effort. You're going to get, but sometimes it's too much and it ends up being kind of working against him.
Rupper, which team in the East who's currently not in a playoff spot do you give the best chance to get into a playoff spot when the season's over?
Columbus. I think the Blue Jackets, they were certainly on a run, 9-1 their last 10 before the break. So that break didn't come at a great time for them, but they're just a team that I think is, they could surprise somebody. It's going to be interesting what they're going to do though, because there's that, I think Charlie Coyle's a pending UFA. Like he's been really good for them, but like, I don't think you're going to go trade the guy when you're right in the middle of a hunt here, but the Columbus is that one team. Like I don't believe that Boston's going to hang on. I think another team's going to move in there. And the Washington Capitals, I'm pretty sure off the top of my head, have less games, maybe a couple less games to play than some of the other teams. They would be the only ones that maybe scare me besides Columbus, but I think Columbus gets in.
Awesome. Thanks, Rupper. We'll chat with you Friday on the Rundown. Have a great day.
Awesome, Greg. Enjoy, buddy.
You betcha. That's Mike Rupp from the NHL Network. Quick break. We'll return. And man, hey, I do have an interesting question about if you never face anyone as dominant at your position, do we know how good you'd be without doing it? We'll discuss it next on The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com. McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Iconic Jasper and Patty Party at Fun the Rocks.
We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Patty's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper and Patty Party at Fun the Rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Break is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Whether you're a craft beer connoisseur or more of a wine aficionado, there's always something new to discover at Sherbrooke Liquor, a unique family-owned independent liquor store. The selection, incredible. The non-alcohol section is also very impressive. Sherbrooke Liquor, expert, knowledgeable staff with a passion for unique finds. More than just a liquor store, we're a community. Alberta's best, the one and only Sherbrooke Liquor. Wine, spirits, and oodles of beer. Visit SherbrookeLiquor.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Sherbrooke Liquor, the best place for wine, cocktails, and beers from all over the world. Also a variety of excellent non-alcoholic options. See more at SherbrookeLiquor.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
We continue on. It is game day. It's been a while. Oilers and the Ducks tonight. McDavid is playing. Don't fret. We never really thought that was much of a concern, but he will be in the lineup for the Oilers. Draisaitl, of course, setting their own line to start. Henrique is back in. He'll play with Frederick and Podkolzin. Rosovic and Savoy with Draisaitl. McDavid, usual line. And then you have Lazar with Janmark and Mangiapane. Defense, we'll see the usual culprits. Bouchard, Ekholm, Nurse, Wallman, Stastny, and Emerson. Tristan Jarry will start in goal tonight, and looks like Connor Ingram will go tomorrow. The Ducks, they do get Leo Carlson back. Also, Dostal will start in goal. Let's get to our NBA report brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter. LegacyHeating.ca, the host of Hoops City, Saturdays, 10 a.m. on Sports 1440. Paul Sir joins us again. Paul, how you doing?
Doing great, Jason. Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. I got an interesting question for you because you were a big man when you played, and I was listening to a conversation and a few NBA coaches were talking about Jokic, and they were saying how, you know what, when you had Shaq and you had Ewing and you had Hakeem Olajuwon, you had lots of centers who were the number one option on their teams, and so when you had to defend them, you know what? Then maybe you got into foul trouble. It impacted how you play. Now, the game has changed today, but Jokic, outside of maybe Wemby, there's not a lot of centers who are the go-to option. Do you think that makes it easier for him to defend, thus put up his offensive numbers?
Well, what you're saying is that he doesn't have to put the effort in on the defensive side of the ball, which means he's fresher when he has the ball on the offensive end and doesn't get worn out. I wouldn't go with that. Okay. Not because I don't think that it's a factor, but it's not the factor for me with Jokic. Jokic, the way I read him is the same way I read the great competitors that have played the game over the years: Bird, Magic, Jordan. Guys that have the ability in the moment that they're needed to do what's necessary for the team to win, they'll find the energy in that particular moment. So I don't think he gets a pass because he doesn't have to guard all those great centers like you're mentioning about. Now, having said that, it would take more of a physical toll if he was banging down low, game in and game out with great guys. But I still think it's more him than it is his competition, because I think he supersedes his competition. No matter what they throw at him, he finds a way to succeed because his game is so versatile and so unique. So I get where they're coming from. There's certainly validity to it, but I don't think when you have a transcendent player like that, I don't look at that as the determining factor.
Okay, that's fair. And it was Raptors coach Sam Casey who was the one who was who had mentioned it. And I was kind of like, oh, all right, just something I hadn't really thought of. So I wanted to ask more of a basketball guy what he thought about it. You look at right now in the NBA and the Raptors got a very good record, Paul, but they're not a very good record against the top teams. And we saw them last night against OKC, even without some guys. And I like the Raptors team. They're a playoff team. But they're still they don't have a superstar. And I think when they play the top teams, that they're kind of like the Carolina Hurricanes to me of the NBA. They work really hard. They're consistent. They got some good players, but they don't got a game breaker.
I think you're right. I think last night is your case. It makes your case, Jason, is that they don't have quite enough of what it takes to beat a really good team. And but the great thing that they're doing, as opposed to, say, the Minnesota Timberwolves, is they're generally beating the teams they're supposed to beat. They beat teams with worse records or equal records to them. And that's a tribute to consistent play on their part, because a lot of times teams will lay an egg. The Raptors haven't laid too many eggs against inferior or slightly weaker competition, but they are one or two players short. If Pirtle's back, that makes a difference. They're kind of duct taping up the center position right now, and that's tough to do game in and game out. And when you're playing against a good team like OKC, you just Murray Boyles just can't get it done in a situation like that. Sorry about that. They still need a guy that is more of a wing scorer. And I'll use the kind of taboo guy right now, Peterson from Kansas. Wouldn't he look nice as long as he wanted to play? But Peterson, and there's a lot of conversation about his unwillingness to play long minutes this year. But a explosive wing scorer like that. RJ's a real good scorer. He's not that kind of scorer. He's not a take the game over kind of scorer like Gilgeous-Alexander, like great players like that, Steph Curry. The Raptors lack that element, as you correctly point out.
Yeah, and it's hard to get it. Like you got to, maybe you can luck out and get a guy late, but usually, you know what, you got to get a top pick, and that's hard to do. So there's obviously exceptions for it, but it's very difficult to do. Trade deadline came and went in the NBA, and so now we kind of know what we have and the rosters, and OKC and the Spurs seem to be the top two teams. Obviously, the Celtics with some potential. If they get their superstar back, that's obviously going to change things for them. But is there anybody else? Like, where do you come out on Houston and some of the other teams in the West? Do you see any of them who could have a potential to disrupt the Thunder Spurs Western Conference final?
That's the only team, and they're right now, they've been more of a question mark than I think we thought they would be the Nuggets. And, I think it's safe to say that Jokic, he's playing well, but he's still not playing at the MVP level he was playing before he got injured. He's close and getting closer. If he gets that back, which I anticipate that he will, if they're completely healthy, they're a threat. They're going to be very good. And we all know how Jokic performs in the playoffs. He's a playoff guy. So I would see Denver as the one, because Houston, with Steven Adams out for the year, I mean, when you look at the rebound difference in Houston since Adams went out, they went from a great rebounding team to a very mediocre rebounding team. So they no longer have that ability to keep the ball alive like Adams did, to get more field goal attempts, frankly, for Kevin Durant, who's playing really well for a 37-year-old guy. Like, he's having a real nice season. Fred VanVleet's not there. They're not that set at point guard. They're nicks and bruises here and there. So I don't look for them to be a threat in the West. Now in the East, the Celtics are intriguing. And I would go so far as to say they're somewhat intriguing even without Tatum. And they're certainly more intriguing if he's able to come back. And it looks, for all intents and purposes, unless something changes, I think we're going to see Tatum in the green and white by the end of this month, by the end of March, rather. He's bound and determined to be back in. So, but in the East, it's an interesting thing. Detroit shows a few cracks in their armor right now, and the Celtics, the Knicks, they're just kind of they're nipping at their heels. And I still think Vucevic, the acquisition of the big Vucevic with the excellent play, MVP level play almost of Jaylen Brown, the continued emergence of the guy that Jason, if you put a lineup of NBA guys on the wall, wouldn't Peyton Pritchard be the last guy you pick and say he's going to be really good in the NBA right now? A 6'1" white guy from Oregon, is kind of stocky looking guy, just atypical in every way. He's tearing it up. He's a heck of a player. Derek White on defense. They're becoming more and more, I think, of a threat. And if you inject Tatum back into the mix, I think they could be really interesting in the East.
No question about it. Quickly looking, you talk about young guys. What do you make of the draft? Right. I think Dibansa might be the number one pick potentially. Maybe Darren Peterson, Cameron Boozer. You see any of these guys as real big difference makers? Or is it too hard to tell?
I see all of them as major contributors. Peterson, the questions about him as because of his character, because he's been really load managing himself, and it's U.S. media, everybody's going crazy over his attitude, etc. But I think if he's healthy, he's going to be a really good impact player. I would say none of, you look at the top three, like Dibansa, I think he's going to make somebody really good. I think he's going to be a 25-plus point scorer in the NBA. I think Boozer's going to be an outstanding kind of Scotty Barnes guy, really good, gets you down 20, 23 a game, that sort of thing. Still really good, tough rebounder, really good passer. They don't have a Cooper Flag this year, but what they do have is once you go past those three, there's probably another 10 to 12 players that are really good. That's, I think, what's intriguing about this draft is whoever drafts in the top 15 should get a player that can step right in and contribute. And that's unusual because Fleming, for instance, from Houston, the guard, he's really good. You watch him play, my gosh, the versatility in his game, he's going to be a great NBA guard. So it's an exciting draft. It's great to see, but thing I'm most curious about is when Cooper Flag comes back, is the it's going to be one of those neck and neck dog sled races between he and Kanepo on who's going to be Rookie of the Year, because they're both just having phenomenal seasons. And Kanepo he just doesn't let up. He just is great night in and night out.
And before we go, Paul, because I know you'll talk about it a lot on the Saturday show, but locals say, hey, we're heading into, it's the fun time of year. Give me an update on what's going on locally in the basketball scene and who people should be watching.
University teams are all done. Bears lost last weekend. The Pandas did, disappointing into their season.
I was going to ask you about the Bears, though. And because they had a really good year, but do you think they finished how they should have?
I think so. I don't think they to beat Vic, that would be really tough. Vic's better, quite honestly, top to bottom. They got experience. They just have more talent. An ex-member of the Bears, Jeffrey James, is a big contributor for you, Vic, as well, which is a shame. But Edmonton boy. But I think the Bears exceeded expectations this year, and they have the platform. As long as Simons, their really good guard, comes back next year, I think they have the platform to be a very good team. And Coach Pippas has done a remarkable job. Pandas will reload again. University of Saskatchewan, the women's team, undefeated all year, defending national champs, got beat by Calgary, but they'll get in on the women's side on an at-large bid. ACAC playoffs start right away. And Keanu out of the north, Fort McMurray just finds a way to get all these kids to come from all over the U.S. and all over Canada up to oil country. But then on the high school scene right now, it looks like the perennial power, the powerhouses in Alberta are SFX from here in Edmonton. On the guys' side, they're really good. And Raymond, once again, with another Gibb on the girls' side. Looks like they're going to roll everybody as well right now. So, yeah, you're right. Magical time of the year right here, March Madness, a couple of weeks away.
Is Jeffrey James, is he going to go pro? Because this is his fifth year, is it not?
It should be his fifth year. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm 99% sure it is. And I think we'll see him in the CEBL again, certainly for sure. And I don't see why Jeffrey couldn't play overseas. He certainly has the athleticism and the all-around game to do it. I'm not sure he'll be back in a Stingers uniform again this year, but he's had two real nice seasons for UVic. Was great after he ruptured his Achilles to see him come back. But I would expect to see him in the CEBL this year again.
Okay. Awesome. Paul, we will tune in Saturday morning, 10 a.m.
Got a couple of good guests. So, yeah, I hope folks will. So, thanks a lot.
You betcha. That's Paul Sir, host of Hoop City Saturday morning. Him and the Josh man bouncing around. So you can check it out on Sports 1440. Let's get to the con, man. Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. They can meet all your car needs and more with their digital vehicle report. They don't just tell you what your car needs, they'll show you. Book an appointment, fountaintire.com.
The Sports 1440 update.
The NHL returning from the Olympic break tonight. 8 games on the schedule, including the Oilers down in Anaheim taking on the Ducks. Puck drop 8:30. Pre-game coverage with Andrew Walker gets going at 7 here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, Kings taking on the Golden Knights. Jets in Vancouver. Avs and Mammoth. Stars host the Kraken. Leafs taking on the Lightning. Sabres and Devils, and the Caps host the Flyers. Pittsburgh Penguins captain Sidney Crosby was placed on the IR today and is expected to miss a minimum of 4 weeks with a lower body injury. He suffered while playing for Team Canada. He was injured in the quarterfinal win over Czechia. He missed the semifinal against the Finns and the gold medal loss to the United States. In the association, Toronto Raptors' tough schedule continues with the Spurs in town. Tip-off 5:30 from Scotiabank Arena. You've also got the Thunder taking on the Pistons, Grizz, Warriors, Kings in Houston, Bucks taking on the Cavaliers, and the Celtics in Denver. Promise David will have surgery to repair a ruptured tendon in his hip on Friday, but the Canadian striker is not ruling himself out of the World Cup per sources following the surgery. His rehabilitation process is expected to take 3 to 5 months, with Canada's first match coming up in the World Cup on June 12th. And then the AJ Fort Max in Bonnyville and Devin takes on Lloyd. Coming up in hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll get to the stat of the day, be joined by Tyler Yaremchuk of Oilers Nation, and ask 5 questions I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
60 years ago, we started selling trucks as Western GMC Buick. Today, we are Wolf GMC Buick. We're still located
Saturdays.
on the corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road with the same ownership for over 2 decades. Our customers have trusted our family-owned, community-driven business. And for that, we are thankful. If you're looking for a truck or SUV, pop in and one of our seasoned professionals will get you a great deal, hassle-free. Come trust our team at Wolf GMC Buick. Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
Awesome.
Thanks a lot. It can
You
make
betcha,
even the
that's-
simplest things like reaching up, lifting a bag, brushing your teeth, or sleeping frustrating. Rotator cuff strains, impingement, arthritis, they're some of the most common issues we treat every day. I'm Grant Fedoruk, and at Leading Edge Physio, our team brings postgraduate training, evidence-based technology, and just the right amount of humor and humility to help you feel better. Because we never forget the most important part, the gratitude we feel for every patient who allows
Wednesday.
us the opportunity to care for them. Because life shouldn't hurt. When it does, leadingedgephysio.com.
Just think, Kevin Carius has been covering Edmonton sports since before TikTok, Twitter, texting, and the Titanic. We may have made that last one up. Check out Carius in the mornings on Sports 1440. Your game.
7, welcome back.
I'm Colin Livingston,
Welcome back.
president of CanTorque. CanTorque has always been a forward-thinking company, but now that we've turned 25, I can't help but take a minute to take a look back. Thank you to everyone that's been with us along the way.
Great news for your weekend project. CFI, that's Custom Floors Inc., is now open 6 days a
Fair
week.
show presented by
Saturday hours from 10 till 2. Get top quality Canadian products from Beaulieu with the convenience you need. For your free estimate,
Day,
visit
it's been a
CFI
while.
at CustomFloorsInc.ca.
Okay.
Day,
How about
it's
you
been
give
a-
us your star winger for a bag of pucks? What if I throw in some Will Hawk beef jerky?
Yourself a trade.
With Wilhock Beef Jerky on their side, the Alberta teams definitely have an unfair advantage this trade deadline. Pick up some today and use it for trade leverage in your fantasy league.
No way, man. It's way too good.
Wilhock Beef Jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today because you don't win trades with salad.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
Every lunchtime, hang with Low Tide. Weekdays from noon to 2 on Sports 1440. Low Tide and Declan Kruger gives you the deep dives, sharp analysis, and Edmonton sports talk done right. Your game, your station, Sports 1440.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass, your clear choice for residential windows, locally manufactured and installed. Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all of your residential needs. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Start for 3 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon. Sports 1440, Sports 1440. That's YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. The Oilers, of course, back in action tonight to take on the Anaheim Ducks. Oilers will have McDavid in the lineup, no surprise. Draisaitl's in the lineup, no surprise. Henrique just officially activated from LTI. Savoy's being recalled. All the things we talked about last few days have come to fruition. Even Frederick and Podkolzin start the game together as third line. God, if they could get a third line up and down, bang some bodies, add some energy, would that be a welcome addition? Welcome addition. Trent Frederick, just pretend it's a brand new season. That's how you have to approach this. It's a brand new year. It doesn't matter what you've done in the first part of the season. It doesn't matter. You just got to focus on what's happening right now and say, hey, you know what? I'm going to get off to a good start in this new season. Imagine if he scored tonight. Oh, no. Would I be a little surprised? Yeah, I'd be a little surprised, but that would be massive just for his confidence. Just for his confidence. Now, he did score in the fourth game of the season. Or was it even the third? No, I think it was the fourth against the Rangers. It's a game-winning goal. First goal of the game, they won 2-0. But when you score 4 games into the season, you can't tell me that, well, he had no confidence early on. I don't really buy that. So he's got to find a way to be better. 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. You can text or call us. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Alberta's only regulated online gambling website where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province at PlayAlberta.ca. I look at we're going to get to our stat of the day because I got some stats to get to. We always like to look at the good ones and some of the surprising ones and maybe some of the ones that are like, we'll see what happens. But so why don't we do it? Let's get to our stats of the day. Brought to you by All Star Construction, founded in 2009. The largest contractor in their space in land development for power and gas insulation. Of course, they do underground utilities, power, gas, telecommunications, street lighting, directional drilling, and hydro vacuuming. That is All Star Construction. And a few stats. Did you know the Oilers? Now, you knew this. The Oilers play 3 games in 4 days. Some of you probably knew that Connor McDavid has 96 points. He is 4 points away from his 9th 100-point season. He's currently tied for third most with Marcel Dion at 8. 4 more points, which he likely gets. Heck, he could get that tonight, but he'll likely get it here in the next few days. That'll give him 9. Moves him 1 back of Lemieux, 6 back of Gretzky. It'll also be his 6th consecutive season with 100 points. And realistically, it probably could have been 10. Well, it would have been 10 if the 2020 season wasn't canceled. He had 97 points in 64 games. Now, he had missed 7 games that year. So the Oilers had 11 games left. He needed 3 points to get to 100. Lock it in. He'll get 3 points in 100 and 3 points in 11 games. We all know that. But season got delayed due to COVID. When they resumed, they only resumed in the playoffs. Unfortunate for him. Because most consecutive 100-point seasons, 13, Gretzky. After that, 6. And McDavid will tie that group of players and probably break it next year. In that group, Bobby Orr, Mike Bossy, Mary Lemieux, Steve Yzerman, Marcel Dion, Guy Lafleur. Pretty good group of players. So that's where McDavid is at. And I know right now people are thinking, oh my God, didn't win the Olympics and, didn't win the Stanley Cups. And hey, that's fair. I get it. But those things are kind of different. You can't win those in the regular season, right? Like the regular season's big because it's a career. Like it's a lot more games. And to be that dominant, it's impressive. Would he trade it all for a Stanley Cup? I don't know if he'd trade it all because he probably wouldn't win the Stanley Cup if he had to give away all that stuff. You still got to produce to it. So he's got time. Like McDavid, it's not like he's never going to win a cup. He's got lots. He's probably got another decade for an opportunity to win a cup. And I'd be pretty confident saying that Team Canada is going to win a gold medal in the future. He's going to get at least 2 more Olympics. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind. All right, he'll play in on the 2030 team, play in the 2034 team, and heck, 12 more years, 41. Never know. Could do it. So 2 more for sure. So he'll have opportunities there. Some other stats to discuss. How about Adam Henrique? Adam Henrique activated off of IR, or LTIR, excuse me. Henrique has he's been in a little bit of a funk right now. He hasn't scored a goal since October 23rd. Now, he's missed some games, but he's played 35 games without a goal. The longest drought of his career, not even close. The fewest goals he's ever scored in a season was 11. The guy has scored over 20 goals 7 times. He's a pretty productive player. Adam Henrique is one of those guys that can he be a guy who, be on a score 4 goals down the stretch in 24 games, which puts you on like a 12 goal, heck, even 3, right? Puts you on a 10, 11 goal pace. Later in his career, doesn't play as much as he used to. I don't expect him to score 20. Oh my goodness, he has 2 and 43 on the season. Like he's on pace to score 4 goals. So he'll need to add a little bit more, and I think he might. I think Adam Henrique is one of those guys who you're going to see be a little bit better offensively than he has been early on. I know it's not saying much because he only has 2 goals, but I would look for that. The other thing, very quietly, that's not getting talked a lot about in Edmonton. When you wake up today, do you know that Evan Bouchard, do you remember that Evan Bouchard leads NHL defenseman in points with 63? He's on pace for 89.6 points. So if you round up, that gives him 90 points. There's not a lot of defensemen in the history of the game who have scored 90 points in a season. How about 12? That's it. And you know the names: Coffey, Bork, Orr, McCarr, Carlson, Yossi, Ryan Suter, Al McInnes, Phil Housley, Brian Leach. I think I'm missing one, but those are the names. Bouchard is very quietly, probably a little bit under the radar, having an unbelievable season offensively. I know that early on in the year, people, but Gregor, don't you remember on November 7th, he had a terrible giveaway? Yeah, I remember that. He's made way more good plays than bad plays, and way more high-end great plays than low-end terrible plays. But people remember the low-end ones more. But you're seeing a pretty good season from Evan Bouchard, and it'll be interesting to see can he outscore Quinn Hughes and McCarr and Werenski down the stretch. The Oilers are going to need him to. If he does, that'll severely increase their chances of holding on to a playoff spot and maybe, just maybe, getting in the play. I think I forgot one name, Peter Stastny, in that 6 consecutive 100-point seasons. He was the other guy who did it. So not bad at all. A few other ones. I think the Kasperi Kapanen injury is bigger than some. Kasperi Kapanen's been really good. 10 points in his last 13 games, plus 10 at that time, 5-on-5. For a team that's been giving up a lot 5-on-5, for him to be plus 10, it's pretty damn impressive. He's only been on for 5 goals against in those 13 games at 5-on-5. And that's a big reason why Kapanen, for me, when he's healthy, he's playing with Draisaitl and Roslovic. I like his size. I like his speed. I like his shot. I also like that he's really improved his defensive game. Quite a bit, in fact, for me. So there you go. Hey, Greg, do you think McDavid will win a cup here? He's got a pretty good chance. It's hard to win, man. Like, think about a few things that happen. Now, one thing that's taken out of the equation, that has been in the equation the last few years, was the ability to have a heightened salary cap in the playoffs. It's just a fact. And teams who've won in the past use that to their advantage at times. But the other thing, and probably the most important one, is health. Year after year. What if Leon Draisaitl's healthy in 2024 in the Cup final? What if, and Nurse, by the way, too, both of them hurt. What if Ekholm and Hyman aren't injured last year? Could the Oilers have won? We'll never know. But I think it's fair to say their odds of winning go up if those two are healthy. Doesn't guarantee they win, but their odds go up. Right? Like, look at Florida. Florida lost in 22. Kachuk was hurt. They had a few other guys injured. The last 2 years, they've been very healthy. So the hard part about predicting a Stanley Cup win is it isn't just based on talent. Talent plays a big part of it. But key injuries are the massive wild card that's completely unpredictable and historically have shown that impacts who wins or loses. Because the margin is so thin. You get to the Stanley Cup final, both teams are really good. Like, you rarely luck your way in 3 rounds. Now you get to the Cup final. Right? Like, we'll never know. What if Dwayne Rolson's healthy? Do the Oilers win in 06? Maybe. You know, they went 3-3 without him. Maybe they could have won another game. We'll never know. But it's something to consider for sure. And that's why I can say I think he has good chance, but I can't guarantee it because I don't know from year to year who's going to be healthy. Just can't do it. So quick break. We'll return. Your Remchuk joins us next. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Oodle Noodle Origins. In 1864, Francis Oodle took over his dying father's business as a leatherman. He was quite proficient, but his heart was never truly in the trade. After his father's death, Oodle met a cocksure young man named Vladimir Nudell, who was a trailblazer in the popular new art of food boxes. They formed a partnership and aimed to ply their trade in the new world. At Ellis Island, Nudell was renamed David Noodle, and henceforth, the franchise has been known as Oodle Noodle.
Come for Canada's largest trade shows, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. And stay for the experience at the Edmonton Expo Centre. Looking for the perfect place to host your next big event? From trade shows to galas, meetings, and concerts, the Edmonton Expo Centre has the space, event expertise, and service to make your next event unforgettable. With over 522,000 square feet of flexible event space, in-house catering, and operational expertise, they bring your big
I got your name, you little scumbag. I got your name. I got your ass. You will not laugh. You will not cry. You will learn by the numbers. I will teach you. Now get up. Get on your feet.
.com.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Papa John's is making you 2 or more items for only $9.99 each from their Papa Pairings menu. Enjoy a medium one-topping pizza, boneless wings, cheese sticks, and more. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
3:27. It is game day. Sports 1440. Haven't said that for 3 weeks for the Oilers anyway. They're back in action tonight to take on the Quackers in Anaheim. And hey, you're used to 8:30 starts. They've just been in the morning. Now it'll be 8:30 at night. And we all know that's closer to 8:40 as they take on the Ducks tonight. Then they got the LA Kings tomorrow. But then you have a matinee game on Saturday. And then the Oilers come home, lighter schedule. Next week, only 2 games. Playing Tuesday and Friday, both at home to Ottawa and Carolina. So the Oilers have 4 games left before the NHL trade deadline. And we'll get that and more in our discussions as we get to the Oil Report, brought to you by Go Auto. Cars, trucks, vans, SUVs, you name it, they have it. Over 15,000 vehicles to choose from. GoAuto.ca. Promoters Nation and Daily Faceoff, Tyler Yaremchuk joins us. And Ty, how many new players do you think will be on the Oilers roster by Friday at 3:00 our time next week?
I'm going to take what I view as the safe answer here, and I will say 2. I'm hesitant. If I had to set an over-under, I think I might set it at 2.5, but I think I'm going to go with 2. I think we'll see 1 forward, 1 defenseman. Maybe it even comes in the same trade, but 1 forward, 1 D-man, and I don't think they're going to be able to do much more than that.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure. I wasn't expecting to make massive moves. Like, to me, the number one, if they get a second pair right defenseman, that's good. Obviously, you always want to add another forward, sure, but to me, that's the must-have for the Edmonton Oilers between now and Friday.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that, although I don't, again, they currently have 6 good defensemen, I think. I do agree you want a little bit more insulation there in the playoffs. I think I agree with that. I know for the last couple of months, the big debates have been center or winger, but I think when you get to the playoffs, we've seen time and time again, like Connor and Leon can do enough damage to win you playoff series just with the 2 of them. They haven't gotten a lot of help in years past. So shoring up that blue line is important. I think the Paul Coffey addition coming back to the bench shows you that they're very focused on fixing the blue line. So it's just a matter of how hard they're going to swing, I guess. Is this going to be is it going to be a number 4 or 5, or is it going to be a number 3 that they go add? If they find a way to get a number 3, I think that'd be great. I don't know if that piece is necessarily out there, which is why I've kind of spent a lot of my energy talking about, the Nick Perbixes and Zach Whiteclouds of the world, instead of, seeing them take a big swing on someone like Ristolainen, who might come at the acquisition cost of a number 3 D-man, but I'm not sold on that guy being a legitimate, pairing carrier, if so to speak.
Yeah, I never see. For me, my pet peeve in sports analysis is people who always want to. I'm not saying you, but overall, it's a guy's got to carry his line. What are we talking about? There's 6 guys in the league who can do that, and there's Cale Makar and Quinn Hughes and a few others. The Oilers just need a good second pair right shot defenseman. I like Ristolainen. I don't like his injury history, and that's, to me, I'd go Zach Whitecloud ahead of him. I'd go Connor Murphy ahead of him, only because it's his injury history that bothers me more than anything else.
Yeah, and he's inconsistent too. You kind of talk to people in Philadelphia and they say you'll get a couple of weeks, and hey, Finland just got a couple of weeks of it at the Olympics, where it's whoa, this guy is tough, and he can keep up with the pace of the game. And then you'll get a few weeks where it just kind of goes away and he ends up on the wrong part of the highlight reel a few too many times. So I don't know. Again, I've heard the asking price could be a 1st-round pick for him, and I that's where I just kind of wave up the whoa. As much as you want to upgrade your blue line, and I think Ristolainen is better than some of the players they have. He would be an upgrade. To sign up for $5.1 million for another year, to potentially have to give up a 1st-round pick for him, that's just too much for me.
Yeah, he's not at the top of my list.
No.
I like Connor Murphy. Connor Murphy's a penalty killer on the best penalty killing unit in the NHL right now in Chicago, which kind of surprises me. The Blackhawks have the best penalty kill, but they do, and he's right up there. Him and his they got 2 D-men, and the other name escapes me right now. And he's the 2 that they're up there. Basically played identical minutes on the PK. So they're facing all the top units, and it's working. So he's obviously in the right position. He's a UFA at the end of the year. And Stan Bowman knows him. So he'll know if he's good or not good. right? Like personality-wise or not, we'll see what now he's a pen and UFA, so, probably don't have to give up as high of a pick. Usually you're giving up a first for a guy with term, right? We haven't seen much first for a pure rental very often lately.
No, look at Jake Wallman, right? He had another year on his deal. The Oilers obviously felt pretty confident that they'd be able to extend him, so they have no problem giving up a first-round pick for him. I'm with you on that front. A guy like Murphy, I like. The other thing to just remember when you're kind of valuing Oilers draft picks is that whoever they're negotiating with in a trade is going to kind of sit there and go like, oh, that second-round pick, I know it says second-round pick, but that could be in the late stages of that second round. It's almost as good as a third round pick, which hurts the value. Like a lot of people were talking about the Kiefer Sherwood trade and how the Canucks, they wanted a first round pick for the longest time. They settled for 2 seconds. And it's kind of like, whoa, those are 2 San Jose Sharks second round picks. Like that's got a little bit more value than a pick that's going to be in the late 50s or whatever. So yeah, I mean, if Connor Murphy could be had for 50% retained, a second round pick, like I'd much sooner do that than be giving up a first for Ristolainen. And in the spot the Oilers are in, where you have 5 guys under contract for next year on the blue line, 6 if you count Regula, and then another guy in Stasny who's under team control. I don't think they should be scared of the rental market on the blue line.
I look at the Oilers, and you got the Ducks tonight, and the Oilers historically here the last few years haven't been great, starting the season, coming out of breaks. Last year, they lost 4 in a row coming out of 4 Nations. Now, and McDavid talked about it afterwards, is kind of beat up. So maybe are mentally drained. And, they played on a Thursday night, and then he actually played on Saturday afternoon, which was wild. But I look at it's a little bit different this season. And I wonder if maybe you can learn from it, but it's more so the group around them. Like the rest of the team has to be like, let's wake the bleep up right from the get-go tonight.
Yeah, I even think like McDavid's the exception because he went very far in the Olympics, obviously, but even Leon Draisaitl, right? It's a 3-week stretch where I know there's a lot that goes into getting over to Italy and playing the Olympics, but in a 3-week stretch, he played 5 hockey games. He was taxing. He was playing a lot of minutes for Germany, but now he's kind of had a week off. Like I think he should still have some juice here in this one, and you're bang on for everyone else. It's been 3 weeks since you've played. I know Knobloch was calling it like another training camp or a mini training camp. There should be some guys, and I really enjoyed your piece on Adam Henrique. Like there should be guys who are viewing this as like fresh start. Maybe the coaching staff isn't as frustrated with me as they were in at the beginning of February when we were losing 3 in a row. Like it's a chance to make a new first impression, if you will. And Henrique, Frederick, those kinds of guys, right up at the top of my list. Even Matt Savoy, I thought his play kind of tapered off a little bit right before the Olympic break. I like that they're throwing him up with Leon Draisaitl and giving him an opportunity to get some offensive looks. But like that's another guy who I don't mind putting a little bit of pressure on him, saying, let's get the production up. Let's play your best hockey down the stretch here.
Well, he's got to play better, no question. What's interesting about Henrique is I was watching practice, and I even asked him afterwards. I said, I know this might seem like a dumb question, but you looked a little bit quicker. And he kind of chuckled, and he said he'd been able to skate a lot more, right? Like this injury, a broken finger that he had is, well, he's actually, and he was joking about it because he was skating with no hockey stick for the first few weeks. And ask anybody who plays hockey, it's such a weird thing. You don't have a stick. It's like, what am I doing out here? But he really had to focus on some edge stuff and working and skating without it. And it actually feels like it helped him a little bit. So, and he's been pretty rested. So, I'm like, he's never going to be a burner by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe that allows him to get to an opening in front of the net, because that's where most of his goals are scored, right? Like Adam Henrique isn't beating you off the rush. Adam Henrique is beating you down low and hammering home a rebound or something. And, if he feels a little bit quicker, maybe he can get to a spot. So, and like anything, if he can score, he hasn't scored since October 23rd. Like that's 35 games. Tonight will be his 36th. I think if he scores a goal, he'll probably exhale a little bit.
Yeah, and I actually kind of like the idea of him and Vasily Podkolzin just because they do their damage kind of in different areas, right? Podkolzin's a guy who can win a board battle and force a turnover, and he's going to play heavy and physical. He can be the F1 on the forecheck, like all of those things that you like in an energy winger. And then that allows Adam Henrique to play in the middle of the ice, go to the net. Maybe Vasily Podkolzin forces a turnover down low and can throw it in front. You can create a little bit of chaos. So I'm really excited by that third line. Hopefully some of Podkolzin's, work ethic and energy, so to speak, will rub off on a guy like Trent Frederick as well. But I'm a really, really big fan of the way Chris Knobloch has this lineup put together ahead of this game tonight. I think he's putting a lot of players in positions to succeed to kick off the stretch drive.
Frederick and Podkolzin. thought they could be a winning tandem as wingers, and obviously that means that Frederick's got to play how he did in Boston a few years ago for 2 years in a row. Do you think he can?
I mean, I do. I'm not a big believer in like just looking at a guy and being like, oh, they must have forgot how to play hockey. And I hate the narrative that like, oh, he signed a big ticket. Now he doesn't care. He just wants to kick his feet up and enjoy his paychecks. Like, it happens sometimes, but it's rare. But guys don't make it to the NHL with mindsets like that. You don't get to the top of your sport by having a mindset of, oh, I just can't wait to get my big contract and then I'm going to suck for 8 seasons. Like, it obviously bothers Trent Frederick. Was the injury lingering into this year? I don't want to make that excuse. He needs to be better. I think there's a lot of work ethic related things that he needs to be better at. Maybe part of it's accepting his role a little bit more, but I still think there's a player there. You don't score 18 5-on-5 goals in a season or whatever it was. You don't do that, on accident. I think Trent Frederick is a good hockey player. I think there's a crisis of confidence, very similar to Adam Henrique. And again, I think there needs to be a little bit of a switch in mindset, but maybe 3 weeks off and a couple of weeks away from the rink, I should say, maybe that allowed Trent Frederick to clear his head a little bit. So I'm kind of, and I'm hoping the coaching staff has the same view. I hope this isn't a scenario where if Trent Frederick has a bad first period tonight against Anaheim, he's sitting on the bench, or Matthias Janmark's in his spot on the third line or anything like that. I'm kind of willing to say, like, yeah, if you're Chris Knobloch, you talk about this as being a second training camp and a fresh start. Like, I want to see him kind of, walk the walk a little bit and give these guys honest opportunities to kind of, again, make a new first impression, like I said earlier.
People asking, do you think the Oilers should not spend big because their team's not that good? What do you think to that?
I don't agree with the second part that like the team's not that good, because I do think the team can still win playoff rounds. And I think you should, every year you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, you have to do something to give them some help heading into the playoffs. The last thing you want, and you don't need 7 defensemen to get through a playoff run. You need 8. Sometimes you need 9. Right now, if there's 2 injuries on the back end, we're talking about Josh Brown and Atro Leppinen having to play. Like, that absolutely cannot happen for the Edmonton Oilers. So I think they have to do something. Again, I'm working on a piece right now for Oilers Nation that's kind of the best case, most realistic case, and worst case scenarios for the deadline. And the worst case for me would be either A, they do absolutely nothing. Like, that just cannot happen. And B would be that you make a panic trade. I don't want Stan Bowman to get to whatever time next Friday and be like, oh God, I haven't found anything. Screw it. I'm doing the first round pick for Rasmus Ristolainen. Like, that's also a terrible scenario, but you have to give Connor and Leon some help. You have to send that message to the room that you believe in them this season. Even if deep down, and you're Stan Bowman, you don't think this team has as good of a shot at going deep as they did in 2025 or in 2024 before Stan got there. Even if you believe that, you have to do something. Maybe you keep your first round pick dry. Maybe you don't go do something crazy and trade Ike Howard or whatever. Maybe you save a big move like that for the summer when there's more guys on the market, when you have some cap flexibility. But that doesn't mean you do nothing. Add a top 9 forward, or even if it's a third liner, however you want to phrase it or define them, go out there and add a defenseman, even if it's not a Braden Schneider, maybe it's someone lesser than that. You have to do something. Sitting on your hands just isn't an option.
No, it's not an option. Like, hey, the Oilers, I think people forget that they had a run there where they're the hottest team in the NHL, third best defensive team in the NHL. They just have been inconsistent. And I can go back through years of teams that go back when Tampa won. They didn't dominate all year long, right? It's about when you get to the playoffs. So because you have 97 and 29, I'm always looking to add something. Now, I'm not going to go and throw all my chips in on one, because it's too risky, because, you could have somebody get hurt 3 weeks later and that really derails it. Like last year, if Ekholm and Hyman aren't hurt, who knows what happens? We'll never know. But so you kind of play the injury card and hope. I think the Oilers have garnered a few more assets than they've had in the past, because some young guys, they have value. Like, I would argue right now, like there's guys in the minors that might have more value than a late first round pick for some teams, because they're 22 and 23 and they're like, I think this guy's going to be an NHL player, because a late first rounder isn't a lock to be a dominant player. Pretty good chance to be a good player. But after you see a guy for 3 years of pro or 2 years of pro and, a few years in NCAA, you feel like you have a better read rather than seeing a 17-year-old kid. So they've got some guys who at least I think could get them a piece. Some teams might say, you know what? I don't want a first rounder in 2026 or 2027. because the Oilers don't, because that's what it would be. It'd be a first rounder next year. So I'm like, now that kid's next year, realistically, he's probably not helping our team till 2030. Most GMs won't be there at that point. So I think the Oilers can make more moves than some people think. It's just a matter of, are they going to be the right moves? Like, I agree, I wouldn't do a panic move, but I'd look strong. You haven't had a second pair right defenseman. That's like, and that's funny enough, when they had Cody Ceci, he was pretty locked in. He was pretty damn good, despite what some people wanted to say. He was like, they were solid. They weren't dominant, but they were solid. So it's something I would look to get for sure.
Yeah, and I think another thing too, like just looking at the way the market's kind of shaping out this year, there aren't a lot of true sellers in the sense of like teams going into rebuilds who will sit there and say, my goal is to stockpile first round picks. What you have are Nashville's, Winnipeg's, Washington's, these teams who, whether it's right or wrong, are kind of maybe just going, you know what, this isn't our year, but we want to be right back there next year. And maybe those teams would value a Marhala or a Quinn Hudson or whoever it might be by, the same logic you just laid out, where that GM next year might be managing for his job. And he'll sit there and say, okay, if I'm trading a whatever player it is, Morgan Barron, Trevor Van Riemsdyk on Washington, I'm just spitballing now, but like maybe they'd sit there and go, you know what? Yeah, I don't want the first round pick. Give me Quinn Hudson, because I'm going to test drive him for the next few months. And I think next year he's going to be an everyday player for me or something like that. So I think that's a good point. Liam and I had this debate the other day. They have more assets than you think they do. And even look back at last year in the Trent Frederick deal. Who were the two prospects? And I'll almost use air quotes there. It was Max Warner, who had like 2 American League goals on the season. And the one they traded to New Jersey. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. But he wasn't even going to sign here.
Yeah, the big LeChance.
Yeah, LeChance. He wasn't going to sign here, right? Like the Oilers found, and I know there was a pick in that Frederick deal too, or a couple of them, but like the prospects,
just the second rounder, like
but the prospects they had to add in weren't the Matt Savoys or whatever, and it rarely ever is.
But remember, people acted like losing Max Wayner was like just a crushing loss. I'm like, there's, you know what? At trade deadline, prospects are more overrated. The only thing maybe more overrated is when teams sign UFA NCAA players. Might be the only one who's not overrated more. So.
And every year it's like, oh, this guy, if he was in the draft, he'd be a first or second round pick, blah, blah, blah. They like never work out.
Yeah. Well, shocking. Shocking why that is. So Ty, enjoy the game tonight. Go have a nap. Late start.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Thanks, Greg.
That's Talia Remchuk from Oilers Nation and Daily Face-Off. Quick break. We'll return. It's the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We'll come back. We got 5 questions. Gregor Show.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? How about no pressure, a great deal, finance rates as low as 0%, trade values you can be happy with, and an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today, 13215 97th Street, or visit us online at northgategm.com.
There's a lot of great seasons in Alberta. Hockey season, harvest season, the winter season, and the even more winter season. But GS Construction is already preparing for our next great season, because while the city slows down, we plan ahead. Projects, people, and pipelines. Everything starts taking shape for another strong year underground. We're also getting ready for our next hiring season in March. We want new people who want to build something that lasts. For more on us and to apply, visit gsconstruction.ca.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need: Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Looking for the perfect gift? Give the gift of great taste with a Loca Quality Market gift card. Redeemable at any Loca Quality Market or Loca operated restaurant. It's a treat for food lovers. Ready anytime. Grab yours today at loca.ca.
Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle. Noodle, 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 noodle.
Throw the load down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. We're turning Jasper Avenue green.
Your 5-day St. Paddy's Day party kicks off Friday at OTR.
With live entertainment every day.
Including the Feelin' Lucky burlesque show on Sunday.
Plus pipers, Irish dancers, and doors open at 9 a.m. on the 17th.
We got more green beer than Marco has fancy shirts. And trust me, that's a lot.
Lucky the Leprechaun will be there.
Will you?
It's the iconic Jasper Ave Patty Party. That's on the rocks. Next round's on me. Woohoo!
Debt can take over your life. The stress, the constant worry, it can feel like you're drowning. When people come to see me, they're often anxious and feeling hopeless. But when I explain how I can help them get out of debt, those feelings melt away. I'm Parveen Middleton, licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I will create a personalized debt relief plan so you can move forward with confidence. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to discover your debt-free future.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at cantorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
$3.49. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca. Hope you're having a lovely Wednesday afternoon. It is game day. You're excited to be back, of course. Maybe you're excited to play a little Lotto 649. You get your tickets at playalberta.ca. $36 million up for grabs tonight. Also, you could check out the Jason Gregor Show odds boost. So we got some Oiler game action, some other NHL action. We're going with the Adam Henrique special. So check that one out at playalberta.ca. Now let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. Are you suffering from not a very good sleep, restless, tossing and turning? Well, maybe you need a new mattress. Great deals on mattresses. Save up to $1,000 or more right now. 50% off at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
All right, Jason, question number 1. Oilers back in action, so let's get back to the predictions. And a bold prediction as well as they take on the Ducks.
Go ahead.
I'm going to say, usually we go with wins here, so let's keep it going. The Oilers don't have that slow start returning to action. I'm going to say they find a way to get a good win, 4-2 with an empty net. Bold prediction, Trent Frederick gets on the score sheet and kicks off the unofficial second half of the season with a pretty good night.
Well, it's tough, man, because everything in my brain says the Oilers aren't going to play well tonight because they stink coming off. But I haven't talked to the players. I think they realize how crucial this is. They've lost 3 in a row. They see the standings. So, and the Ducks are a one team that they give up a ton of chances. So, I think it'll probably be a high scoring game. So I'm going to say 5-3. And I'll say Henrique scores a goal to end his drought.
All right. Question number 2. Under the circumstances, you're playing back-to-back. Would you have any limits on McDavid's ice time?
It's hard. Like I said, like his 5-on-5 minutes, yes. But if this is a penalty-filled game and your power play gets like 7 chances, well, then he's going to play more minutes. So you can't just set a number and say he can only play 18 minutes, right? You just can't do that. It's which type of minutes is he going to get? So I think his 5-on-5 minutes, you can probably have a number in your head to say, hey, that's where we'd like to be at. But if it's a heavy penalty game, then his numbers are naturally going to go up. And those minutes, they're not hard minutes.
Yeah, I would agree with you, especially, power play. Obviously, we know that not going to be the toughest thing. I would be, obviously, if the Oilers have a lead or it gets out of hand in any situation down the stretch, maybe look to just kind of take it off for a little bit down in the third period, limit him that way. But, he's obviously going to be ready to go. The guy's a gamer. Question number 3 for you. If you're Kyle Dubas, what do you do with the Penguins roster now that Crosby will be out for 4 weeks or so?
Oh, buddy, I think they showed their hand yesterday. I honestly thought that trade for them was they're taking on money to get a draft pick. And I'm sorry. Like, I know people, yeah, but he's younger. Yes, he's younger. He being Gerard, and he's way smaller. So I think that's a trade for a team that isn't planning to win. And I think I won't be shocked here if the Penguins make a few more. I know it's going to look crazy and their fans are probably going to be annoyed. But without Sid, do you honestly think they can hold on to the playoff spot?
No.
I don't think so.
No, I'm with you. I mean, it's an absolutely crucial blow to this team, and I'd be kind of fire selling it here. If it were me, try to get some draft picks, maybe some players if you can go down that route. But for me, I think this pretty much spells the end for the Penguins. Question number 4 for you. SGA the Joker in serious danger of being ineligible for the NBA MVP award as they get close to the 17-game threshold. I believe SGA is at 16, the Joker at 11. Do you like this rule? And without those two, who's next in the conversation for you?
I love the rule. Because how can you be MVP if it's most valuable to your team if you're missing over a quarter of the season? Doesn't make sense to me. Right? Especially because lots of time guys will be good. So I don't mind it at all. I think what it also does is players look and say, damn, you know what? I'm not going to take certain nights off, too many of them. So I don't mind it at all, to be honest. I think if you're a sane voter and you're doing an MVP and you're looking at it, and one guy's played 80 games and one guy's played 60, or even if they're averaging the same, it's harder to average the same points over a longer period of time. Everybody knows that. So no, I like it. I think it takes a little bit of the favoritism out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. It takes the debate out there too as well. Like, oh, this guy only played in 60 games. No, he didn't play enough. He's not in the conversation. Vote elsewhere. So I do like that it's kind of black and white. I think Cunningham's probably a favorite, but I'm going to say Wemby. This guy's an absolute freak for the Spurs, and they're having such a good season. I'll go Wemby as my dark horse MVP here. Final question for you today is Pink Shirt Day, which represents anti-bullying. I finally have a pink shirt because it's Sports 1441, which you can kind of see on the camera here. We don't like bullies, Jason. So when it comes to fictional bullies, who do we dislike the most?
Go ahead.
There's a couple turnarounds I would bring up, like in Ted Lasso. Jamie Tart has a pretty good turnaround. I didn't like him in the beginning. He gets better. Steve Harrington in Stranger Things is another guy who has that really good arc. But when it comes to people I don't like, I got to go Regina George and Mean Girls. The movie's called Mean Girls. She's the meanest of all. Even when you think there's redemption, it's not there. So she would be the top of the list for me. Great movie. Holds up.
You know what? The cons, I have to say, that's a movie that you've seen that I haven't.
You should check it out.
I don't think so, dude. Like, come on. Why? Like, why? Why would I want to watch it?
Just it's got some good humor. It's intelligent, good cast. I guess, there's so many movies out there, but if you were really bored, I bet a few texters would back me up that's saying it's worth a watch.
Yeah. Like, are they better bully than Biff? Right? Like Biff Tannen?
It's pretty bad.
Right? Biff's pretty bad, right? Like, what about Nelson Muntz?
Yeah. He's classic. He's classic.
Yeah. You know what? I'm actually like, if I'm going bully, I got to go King Joffrey. I don't think there's a better one.
he was a jerk for
Like,
no
dude, he
reason.
bullied everybody, right? Like, well, and did more than bullying. Like, it was so maybe he even went too far for bullies. But I'd probably have to go with. I might go with him. So
good pick.
Yeah, there's a few though. What was that? What was the God? What was that kid's name? I know we were just talking about it yesterday. Did you by chance watch the trailer for Toy Story?
No.
Oh, you got to watch for Toy Story.
Oh, the
5.
guy that looks like Derek Carr?
No. Toy Story 5. Just for Woody. And how we were laughing about Struds and Shogger. So
I thought there was a new bully in that.
No. But what's in Toy Story? What was the kid's name that was wrecking all the toys? God. Was it Sid?
Yeah.
Sid? Yeah,
Sid
okay. There
Phillips.
you go. He was pretty good, right?
Looks really like Derek Carr if you ever get a comparison. Old Raiders quarterback.
Come on.
Yeah, it's shockingly similar.
Yeah. So we'll see. Coming up, we got a very interesting business of sports. But first, let's get to the con man and a sports 1440 update brought to you by Loca. Do you like good quality food? You can go get it in person. Chef prepared to have over 200 meals. Sherwood Park, West End of Edmonton on 142nd Street, or even better, they'll deliver it right to your door. Meals.loca.ca.
The Sports 1440 update.
The NHL returns from their Olympic break with 8 games on the schedule, including the Oilers taking on the Ducks. Puck drop 8:30 pregame here on Sports 1440, starting at 7. You also have the Kings and the Golden Knights, Jets in Vancouver, Mammoth hosts the Avs, Kraken taking on the Stars, Leafs and Lightning, Flyers, Caps, and the Devils up against the Sabres. Pittsburgh Penguins captain Sidney Crosby was placed on the IR today and expected to miss a minimum of 4 weeks with a lower body injury they suffered while playing for Canada at the Olympic Games. In the association tonight, Toronto Raptors taking on the Spurs just after 5:30. Also the Pistons and the Thunder, Warriors in Memphis, Bucks host the Cavaliers, and the Celtics taking on the Nuggets. Canadian soccer player promised that David will have surgery to repair a ruptured tendon in his hip on Friday, but is not ruling himself out of the World Cup per sources. Following surgery, his rehabilitation will take 3 to 5 months. Canada's first match coming on June 12th. And in the AJ Fort Mac in Bonneville, Devon heads to Lloydminster. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, it's another edition of the Business of Sport. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl. No way. And then now. Oh my gosh, you and my brother have the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939, we're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit FountainTire.com today.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder. With over $2 million raised for local charities and his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Made for some rough roads, but it means trails are now packed and ready for action. Don't miss out on riding adventures this winter with a Ski-Doo from Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. Work or play with new 2026 Generation 5 models with class-leading design and power. And right now, take advantage of 5.99% financing OAC. Only at Riverside Honda and Ski-Doo. 15 Inglewood Drive in St. Albert. And always at riversidehonda.com. Shop local, shop Canadian.
Mr. Reuter gets a colonoscopy.
All right, Mr. Reuter, just relax. We're almost finished.
Now, what am I looking at on the screen?
That's your large intestine.
Wow, the pipes of the human body. Incredible. This is just like when we use a camera for sewer inspection, except you probably don't find tree roots.
You'd be surprised what we find.
You know, once I found a bunch of Hot Wheels.
Hey, me too.
For a plumber who values healthy pipes, call Mr. Reuter.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the Power Play 24/7 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power.
Wednesday afternoon, Sports 1440, Sports 14.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio, from weekend warriors to professional athletes, kids playing soccer to grandparents in the garden. Rotator cuff tears and tendonitis, post-surgical knees and hips. We fix your body. Life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
It's after 4 o'clock on a game day. How are you? Welcome back to the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website, where 100% of the revenue stays right here in the province. PlayAlberta.ca. Oilers and the Ducks. You can get in some Jason Gregor Show odds boost there, including a win, maybe Draisaitl, Hyman. We didn't even use McDavid today. Going something different, but
Is he playing?
oh yeah, he's playing. Of course he was going to.
Well, I figured he would, but
One-legged duck swim in a circle. Yes,
Apparently.
yeah, he does. So
I had to think about that for a while.
yeah, I couldn't. I was stunned. Oh, McDavid's going to miss time. Oilers only have 12 forwards. Number one, number two. That guy.
They really only have 3 or 4.
Yeah,
to be honest.
that guy is wired to play, and hasn't played a game since Sunday. For him, he's probably just itching.
Oh yeah,
to get on the ice. I'm sure they limit his minutes, maybe, but if they get a ton of power plays, he'll play over 20 minutes. There's just
or if they get down 3-1, Knobloch will go back to the old standby. Draisaitl, McDavid, and whoever else they can.
I'm going to say no. He won't do that.
Yeah, I would think not.
Yeah,
I'd like to think not.
Yeah, so we'll see. We got that's Ritch Winter, of course. It is the business of sport. Every Wednesday, we always have to talk different businesses in sport. And our next guest today is somebody who's been involved in hockey, been involved in NCAA football, and now is involved in pickleball, one of the fastest growing sports, where I think all of the average weekend warriors think they can be a professional. It's amazing. They're like, oh, I could be a pickleball star. And man, there's like, now you're seeing videos of pickleball fights. Like, what is going on? It's becoming clearly an emotional game, but it is a lot of fun. Mike Neely joined us. He was the CEO of the Arizona Coyotes. He was the executive director of the Fiesta Bowl. And of course, now is the CEO of USA Pickleball. Mike, welcome to the show, man. How you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for the introduction. I'm doing great down here in Scottsdale.
Oh, nice. So tell me, how does one become the CEO of Pickleball America?
What a path that makes. How far back do you want me to go? Right. Well, I'll tell you, probably unlike most people that want to get into sports and think it's a great thing. That was not a passion of mine. I was in corporate business for 14 years and of course, always liked sports, played the sports and coached sports and did all the bit. And it's really one of those opportunities that came along. Sometimes you bounces go your way. And I was, in the corporate world, and I'd worked with somebody that ultimately ended up doing some consulting work with, at that time, the new Minnesota Wild franchise. And I got a call and said, hey, they're looking for a finance guy, because that was my world before, was born in finance. And he said, hey, they're looking for a finance guy. Would you be interested? And, that came to be. And I ended up working in the finance world in the early years of the Minnesota Wild. And then a few years after that, got recruited down to Gretzky land at the time with the then Phoenix Coyotes. And you had Barnett as GM and Gretzky coaching. And boy, a lot of things happened along that, including ownership changes, bankruptcies, and how much of those stories you want to get into. I have a few good ones, but then that kind of ran its course. New ownership ultimately came in, and they wanted to run the show, understandable, and an opportunity came up in the football world right in town here. So then I found myself kind of resurrecting and starting out with the Fiesta Bowl and getting that up and running and back on track. And then that kind of ran its course, and I got a call about this new game of pickleball. And I played pickleball, and it's a fun game, and the growth was going crazy, and I got kind of interested in it. And then next thing you know, I'm running pickleball, and 2.5 years later, here we are, and 25 million people are playing it and growing. It's going crazy.
25 million. It's unbelievable.
It is. Wow. So let's kind of, in the business of sport, we like to talk about all the different businesses. So you were the CEO of the Coyotes, and at a time, Mike, and not talking out of school, I think it's fair to say that didn't have the most secure ownership for a lot of time in Arizona. That was probably the biggest challenge. And I don't care what business you run, if you don't have secure ownership, there's always going to be cutting a corner here, cutting a corner there, and it might be a small corner, but slowly, you end up on the inside of the track, and everybody else is flying by you on the outside of the track, and you're cutting all the corners, right? So, What was, as a CEO there in that, what was the biggest challenge when you just didn't have like that secure ownership?
That was the issue, and that really is the story of the Coyotes. I mean, I'll argue all day that Phoenix is not a hockey market. This is a hockey market. People like myself moved down here from Minnesota and Canada and all the hockey markets, and there's a lot of great hockey going on down here. You have to have a product, right? That people want to believe in, and when you don't have secure ownership and you don't have a competitive team, people are not, especially in markets like this, you need to compete with a lot of other sports. And if you're not winning and putting on a good product, and we weren't for a long time. And, the early days really was, I was on the CFO role, so I'm counting the beans and trying to do what we can while ownership changed a few months after I showed up. And then Jerry Moyes came in, and the market tanked not long after that. And he got into a situation where he was farming the team out, and ultimately that, filed for bankruptcy. And if you want to get into a good story, I can tell you the inside story about that a little bit. But some interesting things happened, and pretty soon a lot of people kicking the tires. The league ended up taking over the organization, and under the league's leadership, that was a year we went to the conference finals. But
2012.
I'd mark that off to, we didn't have ownership issues. We didn't have, an ownership son trying to get involved. We didn't have noise. Maloney and I just did what we thought needed to happen and focused on it, had a chip on our shoulder, and we had a very successful year.
Yeah, but it was without Brizgalov. Doesn't matter what Maloney did, right?
Yeah. You catch a goalie. We just saw that in the Olympics, right? The goalies can make a huge difference.
No, and actually, but that was an interesting experience for me too, Mike, because I represent Briz at the time, and I remember, Mike, you guys had no money, so there was no way you could pay Briz as much as you wanted to have him. I remember going to Maloney and saying, "Not like, well, why don't we try and trade him? Because we all win. You get something for him." So they got a 3rd round pick. And then if they signed him, they get another 3rd round pick. And it worked out amazing for all of us because you guys got 2 3rd round picks. I fly into Philadelphia with Brizgalov and go directly to Joe's for a Philly cheesesteak and do lots of video. And all of a sudden, the whole town's, rabid with the possibility of getting this Vezina Trophy nominee. And we get crazy money. You get 2 3rd round picks, and we all make out like banshees. It was interesting. And then, but the funny thing about it, I was nervous when we did that. If we didn't do that deal, I said to Briz, like, buddy, we go to July 1st, and Vokun, a little older, he's out there with exactly the same stats. They're going to find his interest in maybe a 3-year deal at $3 or $4 million to be appealing. So it ended up working out well. We got $58 million, and Vokun ended up with there wasn't another dance chair when the music stopped, and he got 1.5 million over years. So it was that was a really good experience for me. So thank goodness you guys were. Well, I guess it wouldn't have mattered if you weren't broke. You would have signed him, and he would have been in a great spot there too.
Yeah, that's true. And the business of hockey, right?
Yeah, and Briz loved it there. Yeah, he loved Marble Slab Creamy, Kierland Resort over there. He's a regular, and he really enjoyed his time there. Just unfortunately,
of course, we ended up with Smith, right? And he brought us to a lot of success as well.
Smitty's a good goalie, yeah, for sure.
So Mike, you're CEO. When you're a CEO of an NHL team, can you kind of describe what do you like? I know you're responsible for everything, but you have to hire people, so you can't do everything, right? But when you're the CEO of an NHL team, what did you feel were the main responsibilities, and what did you learn kind of from, I guess, just trial and error in the better ways to do things as a CEO, maybe later in your career than you did the first years as a CEO?
Yeah, well, you're always learning at any point in time, and CEO. That was my first stint as a CEO, and that chair is a lot different than being a number two guy. But I don't think anybody really appreciates or understands that until you're the guy, right? But it is a learning experience. That was it was tasking because we were financially strapped, so you couldn't do a whole lot. But a real key for anything is you get a good team, right? You're not going to do it yourself. And you can't have the ego where you want to build people around you that are either yes men or people that aren't going to challenge you. For me, I just hired as well as I could and get the people that are best at what they do, and then you let them do their job. You hold people accountable. You set your goals and try to make the right decisions, but you got to get good people and let them do their job.
Well, and Mike, how much problem was it? I mean, it's a long drive. People haven't spent a lot of time in Phoenix. If you're living up in Scottsdale, it really could have been at 6:30, 7 o'clock at night. It's an hour drive to the rink, right?
Yeah, it was a tough traffic pattern, and but in general, I mean, that's not something that you can't overcome. And like I said, that year 11, 12, when we went to conference finals, we were selling out the arena, right? People will come. I heard that when I was in Minnesota, right? They built the arena in St. Paul, and basically the word was nobody's going to go to St. Paul. Minneapolis is where it's at. Well, we know what happened there, right? You put on a product, people will come to it for sure.
I remember going to my first Phoenix game, and I'm trying to find the parking attendant to pay for the parking.
Free parking, wasn't it?
Yeah, they didn't have one. I'm walking around looking. Finally, I said, where do I pay? And the guy said, oh, we don't pay here.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
We changed that. We changed that for sure. Well, to your point, Jason, we operated the arena, right? So that was a big part of the organization as well. So that was a whole nuance, of booking shows and organizing. And so you're running a whole arena staff and a whole bunch of stuff that it takes to operate arena, which is good as a organization, as a franchise, to actually control the arena as well is a bonus. It's a lot of work and takes a lot of extra efforts, but it's good as an operator of a franchise to have that control.
And Mike, you're still there in Arizona, and now that the team's gone, I know it's only been a few years, and there's already talk that they'd like to bring hockey back. It is, I think, like the 7th largest TV market in the United States. So I understand why the NHL would want to be there, but the only way they're coming back is if solid ownership. Like, I just look at the difference between Utah under Smith and just how they run things compared to how it was in Arizona, and it's night and day. You can make fans become. I think a lot of people like to be part of something, and so even if they're not the most educated hockey fan to start, they'll be like, I'll go there. It's fun. The team's winning. It's in the community. Man, the owner's doing lots of stuff, and he's got tons of money, so he's not worried about if he's losing money, because if he's losing money on hockey, he's using it as a write-off for his other companies that are making money. Like, these guys aren't idiots. Like, they're billionaires. They've done something right. So. Now that you're there and hockey isn't there, has it impacted, are less kids playing suddenly in the last few years? Is it vital for Arizona to get a team back just to kind of continue to grow, the inroads that they made at the minor hockey level?
Yeah, I think the answer would be it certainly would be advantageous. The ASU here has a strong collegiate hockey program, and the youth development programs that are pretty well developed here. I don't know the specific statistics, but I think it's still pretty strong here as far as the youth and development. And I think we don't have enough sheets of ice for sure, But I think it's still holding on. It's been a few years here now, and will it impact it? Maybe eventually. And I think certainly putting an NHL franchise back here would be a boost to it and continuing it. But I think there's still a strong, it's a southern market, of course, but like I mentioned, people move down here all from the northern states, right? The smart ones that got out of the snow, maybe, but we're hockey people that they're yearning for it, and I think the ASU does well filling their stadium or their arena for the hockey there, and the youth hockey is really strong here. I had a son that grew up to the youth stuff, and we've produced some pretty good players out of this market as well.
Well, and Mike, I was in Maricopa where my partner has a winter place, and I took some clothes in to get tailored while I was there. And young man, Taylor's son, wearing a Utah Mammoth jersey. And I'm like, wow, I didn't put two to two together immediately. And he said, oh, no, we missed the Coyotes. So a young Spanish mother and son were huge hockey fans. And just kind of interesting to see that. You're not really expecting it in that situation. And they're planning a trip. They said sometime. They didn't seem to be of more than humble circumstances, but they were planning a trip to get up to Las Vegas and see their team play at some point. It's interesting.
It's missed, and it's frustrating that when you lose a franchise. I'll put myself in that category. Very frustrating, and it didn't have to happen. I mean, I'll give Bettman kudos. I mean, he did what he could. He could have punched the franchise out of here a lot earlier and many different times. But I think he believes in the market. The ownership side just didn't work out. There was a revolving door there for a while, and just didn't have that strong ownership to do what you needed to do to have a stable franchise.
Yeah.
Mike Neely joins us. He, of course, is the CEO of USA Pickleball, former CEO of the Arizona Coyotes. And when we come back, we are going to talk about the growth of pickleball and where it's going and how competitive suddenly it's come, even on a business side. Not so much the players, but people trying to want to run it in different leagues. We'll get into all that when we return here on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
And now Action Electrical's testing team is on defense duty. They're the guardians of safety and compliance, a critical part of any lineup.
Precisely. They perform rigorous safety and code compliance testing for commercial operations. Think of them as the referees, ensuring everything is up to standard before disaster strikes.
Their preventative plays are legendary, spotting faults early. Hire the Action Electrical team to bring home a win for your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hi, Mike here from Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Free trips, free iPads, a barbecue, a wood stove, the #1 dealer in the world. What? Who cares? Well, no pressure. A great deal. Finance rates as low as 0%. Trade values you can be happy with. And an indoor showroom. And we're pretty good people. Stop in and see us today. 13215 97th Street. Or visit us online at northgategm.com.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled. And having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada. Properties include the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility in Nisku, features 2 sheets of ice, a 1,600-seat arena, as well as Summit Restaurant. Learn more at silentice.com.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
You matter. Your mental health matters. And you're braver than you think. Not Alone is an organization focused on creating a space of acceptance and support through tough, meaningful conversation. Use code 1440 for 15% off at notalonecode.com. It's okay to not be okay.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bed. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by On the Rocks. The Oilers are back in action, and OTR is ready to be your hockey headquarters. $5.75 Molson Canadian, 69-cent wings, and play, score, and win every game. See more at ontherocksyeg.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sport 22, we continue on. Game day, Sports 1440. Oilers taking on the Ducks. If you missed it, McDavid is playing, of course. Tristan Jarry will start. Carlson's back in the lineup for the Ducks. He hasn't played since January 10th, so that'll be a big boost for them. Point-a-game player, 44 points in 44 games for a team that's 1 point back of the Oilers. This is a pretty big game. Both of them tonight and tomorrow take on the LA Kings. Kings beat Vegas. Vegas, they're 5 American and Canadian Olympians. They're not in the lineup tonight for Vegas, so it's probably a game you would think LA, like, they got to win. You're out of the playoff spot, so lots going on there.
So am I the only guy? Is it Calvin Pickett's agent, the only guy hoping for 7-3 loss tonight, or is everybody else hoping for that? Because going to get that big pick if we go down.
Yeah. We continue on the business of sport with Mike Neely. He's the CEO of USA Pickleball, of course. Former CEO of the Arizona Coyotes, and being for one team, Mike. I'm assuming it's different when you're the CEO of Pickleball America. Now you oversee everything. So there's 25 million players now. I guess let's talk, like, what is Pickleball America? Like, who are you catering to? Who are you trying to attract? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's a lot different than CEO of a team or an organization. I'm the CEO of the governing body. So USA Pickleball is the governing body of pickleball. So that really, the best analogy that I use is in golf. You got the USGA. So we're responsible for setting the rules, sanctioning tournaments, the equipment certification, those types of things. Then we also run kind of the marquee event in nationals, that the culmination of making it and playing in nationals. We actually operate that nationals event. But the other players that are in the business would be there's 2 pro tours that play. There's actually a pro league that plays. Now they would all operate theoretically under the rules of USA Pickleball. They have some of their own nuances of the rules at the professional level and stuff, but it's kind of confusing to some people, but I'm really representing the governing body. So that is a little bit different than, we don't have a team or specifically a league that we are aligned with, if you will.
What are the goals, Mike, every year? Obviously you're not winning the cup, but what are the goals? Just grow the sport, open it to more different demographic groups? Geographically?
Yeah, I mean, our mission really is to grow and to facilitate the growth of this sport, is more than anything. So, the sport, for most people think that it's a pretty new sport. It was invented back in 1965. So it's been around a long time. The growth really happened around the COVID timeframe, and when people got out, and then the entrance of some of these pro tours. I started 2.5 years ago in my position. I think there was 13 million players, right? Now we're up to 25. The projection, if you believe this or not, after next year, we'll surpass the number of people that are playing tennis.
Wow.
And tennis is healthy and tennis is growing, but this sport just continues to grow so much. And there's great growth up there in Canada too. Pickleball Canada does a great job, and there's a lot of membership. As far as our business model, Rich, to kind of tie to your question, we do have memberships, right? So to play in sanctioned tournaments, you need to be a member of the USA Pickleball. So that's a revenue source. But then we're also testing equipment and charging for that, and then just general operating events and the sponsorships and the things that go along with that. A lot of very consistent with previous worlds that I've been in, but. Those are the main revenue drivers, but we are really a facilitator of growing this sport for the masses, and hopefully the pro tours benefit from that in turn, right? In the growth of this, it was kind of grandpa and grandma's game, right? That was the perception of it, and it still is played pretty heavily, at an older level group. But the largest group that's playing right now is the age group, I think 26 to 34 is the largest of that 25 million. That's the largest group, with the next younger group being the second largest. So this is becoming younger and younger, and it's played by men and women alike. It's continuing to catch on, and there's no sign of it slowing down.
Well, I think the real attraction has to be from a family or perspective. Is it, grandpa can play with grandson, and it's you can let the field levels pretty quickly in terms of, if you want to play at a level with an 8 or 10-year-olds, you can. I mean, it just seems like one of those few sports in the world where you can have a lot of fun if you're 72 and your grandson's 14.
Oh, I absolutely agree. Of course, at any sport, at the professional level, they're playing at a different level.
Yeah.
Yes, I can go out there and it's very, I play with my wife. I play with my 24-year-old daughter and my 20-year-old son, and I'm not sure if I can get him to do anything else with me too much, but it's really crosses ages, and it's a finesse sport as much as anything. I mean, more power is coming into it a little bit, but I remember going out one of my earlier times on my wife and I played, and then there was a couple that we played. I didn't know who they were, but they were surely 20 years senior to me. I thought, well, this is going to be an interesting one. Well, they smacked us down. I mean, they knew what they were doing, and so it's an interesting.
I had a neighbor, 75 years old, invited me to play tennis. Now, I'm not a great tennis player. I didn't really want to go either because I thought it was going to be game over for him. Wow. I mean, it's all about placement of the ball, and he had me running around like I was in a marathon. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, the growth of the sport, you mentioned it's been around a long time, but it's suddenly exploded. Any idea why?
Yeah, I think COVID, it was something that you could get outside and play. And in this game, you get the ball and a paddle. I mean, you can draw some chalk lines on your street and put up a net and play, so it's pretty easy to play. That's a big part of it. That also coincided with the professional leagues that sprouted up. So then you started getting some attention, some, high profile names, high sports profile names were investing in these leagues. And so that maybe started gaining the interest of, what is going on? What is this sport? But really, if you get exposed to it and you play it, it's just a very welcoming, it's a fun sport to play. And, usually it's a doubles game more than anything. And you can go out there and get a good exercise in, but it's not overtaxing. It kind of gets a hard knock. I mean, there's plenty of injuries that have come out of it because those of us that are 60 and still think that we can move like we're 20 try to do too much. But, the stats don't confirm that it's a dangerous sport by any means, but people fall into this sport. It's kind of interesting where, you talk to people and it's kind of life-changing as well. I mean, I've talked to people that, a woman early on that, in tears was saying that, she thought her life was over. She'd lost her son and she was on the couch doing nothing. And her friend talked her into finally going out and playing and changed her life. Plays all the time, and it gave her a purpose. And there's a lot of those stories out there too. It
reminds me a little bit of curling. I grew up in a small town in Western Canada. It's like it was a social event. It was a way to get out, and it seems like it's pickleball clubs. They're all over the place, and it seems like a real healthy option for. Loneliness is a big problem in our world, and these kind of things, when they can alleviate that, they grow like this thing's growing.
Yeah, and I hope it doesn't change because it's a very welcoming. I think for the most part you can go to a park and people are playing, and I found that people were just very welcoming. Come on in, I'll show you how to play with us. It's a very social, welcoming group of people that seem to be playing this.
Big warning I hear from friends of mine that are playing. Little warm up and a little stretching, because when you have to make that one move that you thought you could still make because you feel 16 out there, there goes the Achilles tendon.
Absolutely.
Now, Mike, do you see, as the CEO, like professional league, how professional leagues are we talking, do you think? Like when you look at like some professional sports, there's a wide range. Like pro lacrosse has been around for a long, long time, and they don't make the same money as the NHL. And I know there's some people out there that think, everybody should just get paid the same and equality. I'm like, no, it's all about business. At the end of the day, how many people are going to watch it? Is pickleball, would it be is it a television sport? Like, when you look at the growth of it, where do you see pickleball going from a business standpoint, as far as, not only the quality of players you can attract, but the type of league and sponsors and everything else? Like, how potentially big, or what are the challenges facing it to become like a certified professional sports?
Yeah, that's certainly a TBD, right? I mean, the TV audiences aren't there. I mean, the pro league is, there is a pro league, MLP. They're not turning money over right now, and they're getting an audience, but with so many people playing, it has not, my opinion, has not transitioned into a viewing sport yet. And I don't know if that's if that can happen. I think that's the big question. I think if there's going to be money there, and if you can support and pay players, you're going to need to have that sponsorship money that comes with eyeballs, and people need to be watching it, and that has not developed to that point yet.
We've been watching hockey since I was 4. I've been watching baseball since I was, there isn't that longevity where you grew up with the sport, watching on TV with your dad on a Monday night football game. That's probably going to be a big challenge, because it's just not in most people's long-term wheelhouse.
Yeah, that is true. And there's a lot of competition out there for, the sports watch, right? It's new, but well, I would say I'm an avid player. I mean, I don't play all the time, but I know that I shouldn't want to be watching it all the time. But to be honest, I don't sit down on a weekend and say, hey, let me find a pickleball match, and I want to watch that. So I'm probably admitting something I shouldn't admit, but until it's something, and you can appreciate it, because like anything, that the pro level that they're at, and that is increasing exponentially probably as well. The talent that is there now, and now you have, just in a few years, you have people and kids that are focusing on this sport. So what's going to be coming, that level is going to continue to increase, and but up to right now, a good tennis player could probably transition and compete in a couple of years at a pro level.
Those are probably the kind of things they've got to look at. That tennis player that crosses over and finds the sport real challenging, and maybe they need a Billie Jean King type of challenge. What was the guy she played? I can't remember, but where you get that's maybe a thing to look at, is getting a tennis, pickleball player challenging a few tennis players, spanking real bad, and maybe generate some profile. Yeah,
there's a good poster child. Annalie Waters is really the top women's player right now, and she's been to the top for multiple years. I believe she might be 19 years old right now, but she's at the top of the game, and she's got some years left. But there's younger people that are coming up and challenging her already, but that's, if you ask the 25 million pickleball players, to name 3 pros, I think 24.5 million of them probably wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, like Ben Johns, I think, is the biggest pickleball name for men.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so it's hard, dominant pickleball player, but that's like you get people playing it. It's funny because you mentioned people play it. I think they enjoy it, because there's lots of sports. The truth are, you can't just go up and hey, let's go pick up and play soccer. Right, like you're running around,
go skating,
right, or go skating, or even basketball, because people are like, oh my God, you know what? This guy's taller or shorter, and if they're running up and down the court after 10 minutes,
6, 8, 10, it's
with pickleball, you can play it too. You can play singles, you can play pairs, and lots of times you go 3 or 4 couples, and they rotate in. You play a 10-15 minute game, and then you get to rest, and it's very social. But I'm not, and that's why I'd love to have you on, Mike, and appreciate your honesty, is to go from being social to being something that people will watch. Other sports, people will watch because they're like, well, yeah, I can't do that, right? Or it's super fast, right? And pickleball, well, when you watch it, even at the pro level, like, it is amazing. Their hand-eye, it's kind of like ping pong. But I look at ping pong, and ping pong, people will watch highlights of ping pong and be like, oh my God, you see these rallies, and they're hammering the ball, and they're like, how do they do it? But it doesn't translate to people watching. Like, what you need to do, Mike, I think, is go on a tour of darts in Britain and be like, how the hell did they make this sport such an event? Like they made, like, it's like guy stands there, boom, throws a dart, one time, and people are going crazy. Like it's wild, right? Like it's not like it's that, like, sure, you got to throw, like it's precision, but it's not like it's overly fast moving or anything like that.
But the good news is everybody at the bar is drunk.
Yeah.
Everybody's home having a drink.
Dude.
So you don't drink without playing darts.
But I
so-
watched, but still, you go watch it, like
Oh,
you
it's
watch it on
serious stuff.
TV, man.
And it's compelling on TV.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
Like it's wild. That's what you got to have, like Thunderdome for pickleball.
Yeah, well, we might get there. I mean, the crowds are growing. You know, the professional tours, you know, again, financially, I think they're still working on making it work 100%. But, you know, they're getting big crowds. You know, we have, there's a couple of major events. There's a U.S. Open event that draws 3,000 players and probably that many on a daily basis, at least, to come watch. You know, so there's interest and it's growing. The tours that are out there, multiple games every weekend. They're moving around and having different. They're drawing some crowds, but you know, maybe it'll come. You know, when you get that many people interested in the game and appreciating a pro level, you know, it might get there, but it's going to take some time.
So how does USA Pickleball help the growth, do you think, like with the pro league? Like, do you have to work hand in hand? Like, you know, we see USA Hockey, and obviously there's USA Hockey and there's Canada Hockey, or Hockey Canada, right? And then there's the NHL. How in unison, how in step do you have to be as, you know, USA Pickleball with the pro league?
Well, you'd like to be and want to be 100% in unison. I mean, our job in growing the game, and we're out there, we're getting paddles and training in the hands of youth. That's a big part of what we want to do, because we just want to grow the base. Our focus is more on the amateur side, of course, you know, just kind of growing, getting access. You know, there's a shortage of courts, and courts are coming online all the time, but they're if you drive around and see people playing, those courts are always full and people are waiting to play, you know. So the big part of that is do what we can to help facilitate the growth of having more facilities and courts, but also getting that youth exposed to it and getting the equipment in their hands. That's a big part of what we do. I would like to work, you know, closer and better with the tours. There's two competing tours. There's the APP and the PPA, which, you know, both professional tours. They don't particularly get along, of course. The PPA tour is owned by Tom Dundon, from the Carolinas, and you know, they have a great business plan. I mean, they're kind of the gorilla, if you will, in the market. You know, they're controlling a lot of the space, but that's a for-profit, and they do things, you know, probably for different reasons than I would like to see. And I would like to work closer with those guys. We're almost sometimes competing where, you know, if they don't particularly like something that we are doing or don't think we're doing it right, you know, they're wanting to do it, you know, almost usurp what we're doing. And I understand the pro game's going to be different. You might want some different rules, even, you know, the equipment parameters, you know, can be different, but, you know, I'm trying to work with them more than, you know, and I wish it was a little bit of better relationship there. And on the APP side, I'll say, you know, that is in place. We work hand in hand with them, but it's a little bit of a competitive thing. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's a business, and Tom needs to do what he needs to do, what he thinks is best for him.
Mike, I really appreciate this. What's kind of the next step? You know, you look at Pickleball USA, like if you look in the next calendar year, what are the goals that you need to achieve?
You know, I think, you know, from a macro standpoint, the next step, Olympics. We just got done with Winter Olympics. Olympics are coming up here in 28. That will not be any pickleball exposed there, but the following Olympics in 32 is probably a good target. So part of that is getting the infrastructure in, getting aligned with locally, you know, with the US OPC. It's growing like crazy internationally as well, as you can imagine. And so getting that, there's a lot of things that have to happen at the IOC level, you know, Olympic level and international federations. We're trying to help facilitate that, you know, while we are just a national entity here, you know, because it was invented here and we made the rules, and, you know, we're a big part of this. We're playing a big role in how this is growing, and we want it to be played, you know, keeping the integrity of the game as well. You know, early on, my concern was, as it was growing so fast in China and India, if they decided to, you know, make the net, you know, a foot taller or change the parameters of the size of the court, and and whatnot. We wanted to try to keep the integrity, and I think there's enough inertia now where the game's being played consistently. But maybe a shorter answer is getting our eyes on the Olympic side, because I think that would make a big boost for the sport overall, get the interest in the sport. But it really is going to growing it at the youth level is probably as important as anything for my role.
You need what you need is a pickleball comedy movie, right? That's what you need, like dodgeball, just pickleball, something along those lines.
I haven't seen it yet, but there is a there is a pickleball movie that I don't know if it's released yet, but it's coming, and it's the same. I think it's the same producer of Dodgeball.
Come on!
I swear. I wish I had the details of it, but the reason I know that is that Shane Doan, former Coyote captain, longtime hockey guy, he's involved with it somehow.
Well,
So
Connor Halley just whispered in my ear. Cons, are you serious? That's the name of the movie?
It's called The Dink. Yeah, it's produced by Ben Stiller.
Oh
Ben
my
Stiller,
God!
yeah, there you go.
Washed up tennis pro tries to save a club by reluctantly playing pickleball to earn his father's respect. Ed Harris, Ben Stiller, Wayne Wilderson. Well, there you go.
Released yet? Or?
No, it's not released yet. But people are going to watch it simply for the name, The Dink. Classic. Well, there you go, Mike. That you guys better be ready. Once it comes out, there'll be a lot of demand maybe for new pickleballers.
That's all right with me.
Awesome. Well, thanks, man. We appreciate it. Thanks for your time, Mike. Continued success.
Yeah,
Good
thanks
seeing
for
you,
having me on. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's Mike Neely from USA Pickleball. I really like that conversation of that, but also the first segment, if you missed it. I really liked his honesty about the Coyotes when you're CEO of the Coyotes. And I loved that. I said, yeah, you know what? When you're CEO, the 1 year they had their most success was when the NHL owned the team and had taken over ownership. So we didn't have to worry about your son trying to take over the team and run the team. And that's the truth, man. Like it was, and I know it's funny, but that's, just because you have money and brains in some business doesn't guarantee you'll have success in the next business.
No.
Right. And unless you go in with the same business strategy. Okay. What worked? Right. What was our culture? What did we what did we use to allow us to be successful
and if
in
you
this
look
business?
at the modern dynasties, that's what happened. And what hockey people, I'm sure it's the same with basketball people and football people. Hockey's different, boss. It's not different. You got to acquire undervalued assets. You develop them, and you sell them for more than you paid for. It's really pretty simple. You do it through, but what the teams that you see that have done so well, these are private equity firms. Like, when the Guggenheim bought the Dodgers, they came in and just went, no, we're going to run like a private equity firm. We're going to go out and find really cheap stuff. Tom Dunnan's doing the same. That's exactly the way.
Well, now they spend a lot though.
No, but they spend a lot. But I talked when we had Stan on the other day. Do you know Stan Kasten, the president of the Dodgers? You know what? When they just signed Shotani's contract, it was already paid for.
Well, exactly.
So it's like, because they're running it like a private equity firm. They didn't go out and sign this kid Shotani Ohtani, so who had the last, because hoping it would work out. No, they had it paid for before it started. I was surprised to hear from Stan that, as we know in most sports, the pro league takes all the international revenue. But what happened is they went and marketed to Japanese companies. Their board revenue, their in stadium revenue went through the roof. And I actually remember talking to, I don't follow baseball very. I called Stan, and he picked up the phone. And I said, "So what's up?" He said, "Well, I don't know if you read, but we signed a guy from Japan." He's, I didn't no idea, but it was all done. They had the business run. So when owners start figuring out what Tom Dundon has figured out, you'll consistently be a perennial contender, because you got to run it like that. You can't let your kid run it just because.
Yes, 100%. Makes total sense. We'll come back. We'll wrap things up with the business of sports. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter here in Sports 1440.
Hello. You're never going to believe this. Booster Juice called your name today. You can get a free smoothie or acai bowl.
No way. And they're now.
Oh my gosh, you and my brother have the same name. Okay, I'm calling him next. I'm hanging up.
Booster Juice Names of the Day is back. 2 names are selected each day, and if your name matches, you can get a free smoothie or an acai bowl. Watch for your name on the Booster Rewards app and social media. Must be an app member to qualify. Booster Juice, Canadian born, blending since 1999.
It's like a locker room, minus the smell.
Ew.
Kevin Carius brings the banter, the buzz, and the bold sports talk. Weekday mornings from 7 to 11 on Sports 1440, Edmonton's home for sports.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the Power Play 24/7 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
Remember 2025? That's so last year. But seriously, St. Albert Dodge needs to clear some 2025 models off the lot to make room for new inventory. So they're having a huge clear out of all the remaining new 2025 Jeep Wrangler Saharas. The Sahara package is the best seller, so they have a great selection to choose from and priced from as low as $59.9. I don't have to tell you, these are going to go fast. So get there before they are gone. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Who's that working on the underground utilities over there? All-Star Construction, that's who. What about the street lighting? Yep, All-Star Construction. And the directional drilling, hydrovacking, neighborhood renewal, and telecommunication work? Yep. And yep. Since 2009, All-Star Construction has been doing all that and more, shaping and building Edmonton communities for land developers all around Edmonton. That's what All-Star Construction is all about.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Riverside Honda, 59 years and counting, is St. Albert and surrounding areas' premier Honda and Can-Am dealer. It's your dream. Ride it at riversidehonda.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
And then it's more so like, were you 448? We continue on. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter here, the business of sport. And we are 9 days away, Rich, from the trade deadline. And you obviously have a few clients. And I'm sure every year it's different. Some guys are like, there's no chance I'm getting traded. And 99% of the time, they're right. Yeah. And then there's others who are like, man, I'd like to get traded. And then they don't get traded, right? Like, I want to focus on that sometimes because I think people... There's players that have asked for a trade or, hey, you know what? Hey, Rich, tell them I want to get traded. Okay. And then they don't get traded and then they end up staying on that team and have really good success sometimes, right? Like it varies from month to month almost for certain guys. And, you know, like when things aren't going well, whether it's the team or personally, or maybe you don't like the coach, like there's so many different reasons, but the percentage of guys who think it would be, you know what, I want to get traded, right? Because you're frustrated and at that time, maybe you're emotional. And then they don't get traded, and you talk to them like 2 years later, and the guy's like, God, that was a really good,
signed a 6-year deal.
Yeah, right.
Well, and I always tell people, like, it's hard to deal with athletes because if you don't understand them. Like, for example, it's counterintuitive to this situation, I'll want to sit down with them, go through some financial planning, long-term. Well, a hockey player's long-term perspective is Tuesday. Because he didn't play that well on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it's really hard. And then what flips, they've got 3 or 4 games, they're not getting ice time, things aren't going well. And all of a sudden, geez, you got a couple of goals. It's mind-boggling how many guys wanted to get traded in November, happy in January, want to get traded again. And there's lots of dynamics that go into it. I would say that for the most part, players that want to get traded are underperforming their contract. And this isn't, to me, it's interesting because many GMs will say, you guys always want the money. No, because I think there's a range of reasonable. Let's say a guy's worth $1 million. At $1.1 million, I'm okay with it. Can live with it. At $1.9 million, we got to move that money and see if we can get something at the deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the other hand, if he's worth $1 million, he's making $925. I'm not getting fired, so we're okay. So but when you get outside that range of reasonable, the player's always unhappy. But surprisingly enough to me, ask James Neal, they're most unhappy when they're grossly overpaid because they're getting beat up in the press. They've got children at school. That talk circulates in the hallways. And so those players more than anybody want to get out and try something different because it's not, And I always tell people, when hockey's going well, they don't think about it, right?
Yeah.
Stay out late, have a few glasses of wine, go to a late movie, but hockey's not going well, can't think about anything else. No. And it's funny, I tell guys all the time, I've had to go through this over the time. Guys are struggling because they're told, then they start doing something different, right? Like, I got to get to bed early. Well, everything they do something different, they go, their brain is wired to go, oh man, I'm in this slump. And I always tell them, first step when you're not playing well, do everything off the ice you would do when you're on a hot streak, right? Because you're away from the rink 14 hours, 15, 16, 18 hours a day. Like, don't change that routine to continue to remind yourself. So it's just a lot of it's just psychological, but mostly it's really tough on guys when they're overpaid. I'm sure like Andrew Mangiapane is not sleeping well, right? They're not happy to be underperforming, right? It has nothing to do with the money. They don't think about the money. Like, that goes by direct deposit. Most of them barely remember what they're getting paid. They have but it doesn't matter. It's not coming to their mind. It's just going every night to the rink and, geez, I want to play better. I want to contribute. What players want more than anything? They want to perform at the best of which they're capable. And when you hit 60% of that, life's pretty miserable, man. Trade me tomorrow.
Yeah. And that's where, your psychologist or whoever, you try to be positive, you work with them. But there's also now, I think, so you come out of this break, and this is a unique year. Yeah, very unique. So you go away, you're having fun. Now you come back, and it's like, man, we got 10 days. And there's lots of players on different teams, because if you don't have a no movement clause, you have no say. Even if you think you're secure, like I'm sure, like, hey, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Cumming, like there's guys that aren't worried about it, right? But I would think there's some guys on some teams who are like, man, I hope I get traded. Because, maybe you're on a bad team and you're an older player and you want to get moved to a good team, right? But then you don't get traded, and now you got to, oh my God, now I got to finish out the season, right? And now maybe I'm a UFA and I got to try to play well to get another contract. Like there's lots of different dynamics, and sometimes
the
we
one
overlook.
that I shut down very quickly is you got a young guy coming out of his entry-level contract who gets traded, right? He's been traded once. He's 22 and he's not happy. And I said, look, guys, we got to be really careful, because the third trade by 22, 23, that's because it's not working out. It's over. Right?
Yeah.
It's over, because now all of a sudden, and people think, oh, these GMs are paying attention to all these players. There's 1,500 players, between the NHL and the American Hockey League. Whatever happened to, he was drafted by, and that's what happens. They forget about them fairly quickly. So I caution guys, be careful what you ask for at the particular age, because you might get it. And if you get it, because you got to remember, after a trade, you've been in an organization 4 or 5 years. Coach knows you. Coach likes you personally, knows your wife. Seen you play a couple of pretty good games, a little disappointed in your performance now. Maybe you're in the press box, maybe you're not. But you go to another team and you're judged by that coach over what happens over the next 96 hours. And if it's not good, buddy, it could be a lot worse. At least that first organization, they traded, or they drafted you, they've nurtured you in 4 or 5 training camps, right? Yeah, it's be careful.
Well, you're right, because the grass isn't always greener. You don't know. We all assume that things will be better.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, I'm going to get traded here. Yeah.
Well, because we are hopeful. That's human nature, right?
Yeah. And if they acquired me, they must think I'm good.
Well, that's always what I say to a guy. Okay, the bad news is you got traded. The good news is the team that got you actually wanted you, right? So that's hopeful, but you just never know. We see it all the time. GM loves you, just loves the player.
Yeah, but the coach doesn't.
Coach is like, well, why did we do this? Like, I don't like, he's too slow, or he's whatever he is. And I always tell players, and they find it shocking at first. The coach is never wrong. They're never wrong. Because they say a player can't score. They put him on the 4th line with a couple slugs. He can't score. Martin Straka scored 29 points 1 year, and then he got bought out. Like, they gave him $500,000 of his $750,000 salary, because go home. Like, here's $500,000, go home. 2 years later, look up the stats, 95 points.
Yep.
But nothing changed except in Florida, Doug McLean, too small, lost a bit of a step. Don't think he can kill penalties, playing 7 or 8 minutes a night. Goes back to Pittsburgh, where he scored 30 goals as a rookie. They put him on the first line with Yager and Francis. And next thing you know, he's playing second power play, first power play unit, 95 points. So a guy goes from bought out All because the coach was right. The coach was right. Martin Straka cannot score when you're playing with Bill Lindsay.
Yeah.
Which Bill, I hope, isn't listening because Bill's a
And
client.
it's interesting you mentioned Straka because I remember like he got bounced around like 3 different teams in 1 year from Ottawa to the
It was a
Islanders
night. Well, and it
to
was all
Florida, right?
so that happened. That was probably the most bizarre situation. So he goes because they had all the ownership issues with Merritt, and so he had got that big contract after he got 95 points, and it wasn't anything to do with Marty. They needed to shed money, so they traded him to Ottawa. Coach didn't like him. Traded him to
the Islanders.
Nobody liked him. And it's mind-boggling. So he gets to the, and then he gets the buyout. He comes back to Pittsburgh, and then he gets traded at the end of that deal to LA, at the end of the season, and they have no interest. And all he did is play like 400 more games with the Rangers, and basically, played at the 70, 60, 70, 80 point level, because that's what's, the problem often isn't the player. It's the perception of the player that leads coaches to make some really bad decisions. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of players out there that that I represent that you've never heard of that are better than many of the players in the NHL because they didn't get the opportunity.
One man's junk is another man's treasure.
First thing you need, like every player besides the Connor McDavids of the world, they all want more of one thing. Opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah, if I play on the first line, I'm way better than Gregor. Like that guy sucks. I mean, you see his shot, like it's terrible. And then if I could just get a little more ice time, they all believe that's why they're there. And you know what?
No one ever said my shot sucked. Skating terrible, but never my shot.
I didn't see either one, so I was just taking it. I was just swinging.
It's even better. Shot's even better now, buddy. Oof. God, I wish I could aim like that when I was younger.
I got to see the video. I got to see the video.
Foot speed. That's still a problem.
Well, Vinny Prossa will tell you foot speed was irrelevant.
Well, that's probably good. So that is probably good. So we'll see. Rich, next Wednesday we're gonna have it is trade deadline week, so we're gonna have a trade. And you know what? We're hoping to line up a guy who went through it, because I think there's lots of elements of the trade and different viewpoints that we probably overlook at times, because everybody sees the end result. Player A gets like Brett Kulak. Brett Kulak's Marty Straka this year. Yeah. He went from Edmonton to Pittsburgh, but now he's going to Colorado, so it's a little bit different because the Islanders were terrible, and went to Florida and they weren't very good. But the Colorado Avalanche are the best team in the NHL right now, at least record wise. So he's probably happy about it. But he has 2 kids, and I know they had moved the family to Pittsburgh, and
we don't know when their kids' birthdays are. They might be next week. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff. That's why I like being an agent, because I don't have to go to the games at any particular time. I got to spend time, for the most part, with my family, and it's tough on those guys. Like people forget. I always tell people I don't represent hockey players. I represent dads.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised. This is not an easy life.
I think people see the salary. Right. And hey, you get to play hockey. It's super fun. And don't discount, like I don't feel sorry for them, but I can empathize that not every job, despite, being in the public eye and everything else, there's pros and cons to every job. Every job. And, some people are better cut out for it.
Well, but at the end of the day, my stepfather used to tell me all the time, and he's totally right. He said, if money will solve your problems, you don't have any.
Because their problems aren't that serious.
Yeah, if money can solve it, it's not really a problem. The problem is get your affairs in order, man. Or you got to get to the hospital. It's your daughter.
Yeah,
that's
money
a problem.
Can't,
money,
solve that problem.
And it's proven scientifically. Like once you hit that minimum level where you can sustain yourself, the value of money in terms of the quality of your life, almost irrelevant. You would think you'd be miserable in a small apartment. I'm telling you, I spend a lot. I really like to look out for those guys who are making our lives easier. The guys that are doing the gardening at the resort we're staying. Talk to them, and you know what? A lot of them are way more happy. They're way happier than the billionaire friends I have. They're just happy. They're spending time with their kids. They have a 9-to-5 job. They're the coach at the basketball team. They're volunteering at the school. At the end of the day, hockey's tough. And then you turn 32 and you're not prepared for that. And that's a problem. And I always like Claude Lemieux when he talked about that. I like the way he put it in perspective. He says, if you played hockey, you retire. So here you take your wife on those 2 vacations you could never take her on during this, hockey season. Maybe take your kids on 1 or 2 of those. And then you sit in the kitchen. Yeah, you got 10 million in the bank and no purpose. Yeah, it's tough. There's a lot of that. These players pay There's a lot of consequences to the decision to make. Now, Isaiah McDavid, those guys, Zach, some of them, they don't have to worry about that. That guy who played 6 years in the NHL, made $2 or $3 million, was taxed out of his mind. In New York, he's got 800,000, $1 million saved. He's 32, no skills. It's you don't have to cry, cry for them, but there's a lot they give up. It's a big commitment to something they love that I'm sure many of them would like to have those days back where, all of us got to spend those birthdays with our kids.
We will, we'll talk about all that stuff next week. Rich, have yourself a wonderful week.
Yeah, it's good. Getting warm.
There you go. It is starting to warm, but then it's supposed to get cold again, but not too cold. So we'll see. Let's get to the con man and a Sports 1440 update. We'll come back. We're going to hear from the Ducks side of things. The Anaheim Ducks, man. Don't overlook the Ducks tonight. This will not be an easy game for the Edmonton Oilers, but it's a game still that they should win, or they need to win. I would think should is a little different. They're only 1 point ahead, but it's a game you got to win if you want to get home ice. Let's get to Connor Halley, Sports 1440 update, brought to you by Northgate Chevrolet Buick GMC. Their used car department needs inventory. Bring your vehicle in for no obligation appraisal today. No pressure, no hassle, no free trips. Just a great deal. NorthgateGM.com.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
The NHL returning after the Olympic break. Oilers down in Anaheim taking on the Ducks. Puck drop 8:30. Pregame coverage with Andrew Walker gets going at 7 here on Sports 1440. Elsewhere, you got the Flyers taking on the Capitals. Tom Wilson out for that one. Devils up against the Sabres. Maple Leafs in Tampa. Stars host the Kraken. Abs in Mammoth. Canucks host the Jets. And the Golden Knights in Los Angeles. Mr. Penguins captain Sidney Crosby was placed on the IR today. He's expected to miss a minimum of 4 weeks with a lower body injury he suffered at the Winter Games. In the association, Toronto Raptors taking on Wemby and the Spurs. Tip off 5:30. We've also got the Pistons and Thunder. Grizz host the Warriors. Kings in Houston. Bucks, Cavs, and the Celtics taking on the Nuggets. Promise David will have surgery to repair a ruptured tendon in his hip on Friday, but the Canadian striker is not ruling himself out for the World Cup. Per sources, rehab should be 3 to 5 months. Canada's first match comes on June 12th, and in the AJ Fort Mac in Bonneville and Devon heading to Lloyd. Coming up in hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and OC registered Ducks reporter Andrew Knoll. I'm Connor Halley. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
What a performance by Action Electrical today. Their projects team kicked things off, designing and building with unmatched skill.
Then the service team swoops in for those crucial repairs and maintenance. And don't forget the testing team, ensuring everything
Shots at 4 o'clock on a game
before the solar team scores with sustainable energy.
A complete team effort. Have Action Electrical bring home a win for you and your project. Visit actionelectrical.net.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000?
We continue on. Jason Gregor, Ritch Winter here, the business.
Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province. There's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
Jason Gregor isn't just a sports guy. He's a community builder with over $3 million raised for local charities. And his Gregor Foundation, he's making a difference on and off the air. Check out Gregor weekday afternoons on Sports 1440.
Summit Restaurant, located in the heart of the Silent Ice Center and just minutes from South Edmonton Common. Summit is your destination for exceptional house-made pizza, delicious entrees, and expertly crafted cocktails. Experience the perfect blend of flavor and ambiance in a modern setting. Join us for a straightforward yet elevated dining experience where our commitment to quality speaks to every bite and sip. Make Summit Restaurant your next night on the town.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on ceiling memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out The Brick in South Common, West Ed Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Japa Machinery. Did you know that Japa offers in-house and on-site service? Rain or shine, Japa Service Department is here for you. Get a quote now at japamachinery.com.
This is Sports 1440, where Edmonton talks sports.
On YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Here's Jason Gregor.
Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Just after 5 o'clock. How are you? Welcome to the Gregor Show. Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Many of you are, hey, you're itching to see what do the orders look like? It's been 3 weeks. Well, they're back in action tonight in Anaheim, and you're used to 8:40 start times. They've just been 8:40 a.m. for the last few weeks. It'll be 8:40 p.m. tonight. Puck drop in Anaheim. Well, 8:40 Edmonton time, that is. 7:40 Anaheim time. So the last game of the night in the National Hockey League. The Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can always get in the game. And tonight, reminder, Lotto 649. You can get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca as the Oilers in action. You can also check out some Jason Gregor Show odds boosts and more right there. Oilers, 12 healthy forwards, 6 available defensemen. They got 2 goalies. This is what they got. Regula is on a conditioning stint still. They're going to get him to play some games. Kapanen is not healthy yet to play. And Calvin Pickard's actually starting in goal in Bakersfield tonight for the Condors. Let's get to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction, your underground infrastructure specialist. And they are hiring. If you want to work for a fantastic company with great benefits and an opportunity to start a career, not just a job, because they love promoting from within, check out gsconstruction.ca and look up careers. Mark Spector from Rogers Sportsnet joins us. Spec, how you doing?
Doing all right, man. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. The Oilers are back. No surprise. Yep. McDavid is playing for the Oilers tonight. Did Knobloch give you any sense? Like, it's hard to say, well, he's going to play blank minutes because it all depends on the game. If the Oilers get a boatload of power play time, well, McDavid's going to have higher minutes. That's just, so I don't know if you can say a select number that he would play, but I think he's probably going to be maybe more mindful of his minutes.
Yeah, I think that's about it. He did not say he won't kill a penalty, though I do not think he will kill a penalty tonight. McDavid gave me a one-word answer when I asked if there's any limitations on his game. He said, Knobloch. That's a Knobloch question. So maybe it was a 4-word answer. But that's fair. That's fair. But I guess what I gathered was from his point, no. But ask the coach. And the coach, you're right. The coach has a hard time with that, laying down a number. I think the score will have a lot to do with this. If it's one-sided one way or another, they'll probably shut them down. So if it's a 3-2 game, though, and I've heard coaches say this to me before, Jay, when it's a tight game and it's a third period and you got Connor McDavid sitting on the bench, he's looking over his shoulder at you like, well, right? Well, so I don't think there's been a coach born who didn't see that look and send Connor McDavid over the boards.
Yeah. No, hey, that is totally valid. Podkolzin and Frederick are going to start the again. I've been talking about this for a week. I like, in theory, everything about playing them as a third line, heavy line. Now it's Henrique tonight, and I think ultimately, he'll be centering the fourth line. I think when all said and done, whether it's a trade or maybe Szymanski gets a look, we'll see what happens here in the next 9 or 10 days. But Podkolzin and Frederick are guys that, in theory, should be able to work well together. And I know you talked to Frederick here recently, and I just he's got to be able to feed off of kind of the emotion of Podkolzin, but at the same time, he needs to play with more emotion himself.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think the one thing you can control is physical play. You can sell out. You can go in and make some hits. You can stir the pot up. This is a team that needs that. This is a team that doesn't have a bunch of guys that you can hear, right, when the game's going on, that are banging the boards, that are making the other team uncomfortable. There's a totally open door for that role to be taken over. And, Podkolzin just does it in the way he plays. He's heavy and hard and works the walls. Podkolzin's a quiet, hard guy to play against. He wins his battles because he's stronger than a lot of guys. So, yeah, there's a huge spot there for Frederick, man. There's a huge opening for him to grab hold of. It's not the first time this year they've presented him with a bit of an opportunity, and he's got to seize it one of these times, Jay. He's got to grab hold of it.
Well, yeah, at some point, I would think he'd have to. Spec, we got a lot of people text in. I'm sure you've seen online. Your question about McDavid has Oiler fans all in a tizzy.
Yeah. And what do you want me to say?
Well, no, they're like, yeah, Spec, why he would ask that question. So I'm asking Spec.
Well, I think it's a very fair question, and it is a question I thought about. It's not easy to ask a guy that's, first of all, we all respect as much as Connor McDavid, a guy that's the face of the game, undoubtedly the best player in the world. Why it is that other guys at his age had a bunch of Stanley Cups and Olympic gold medals, and he hasn't been able to. And I think the question was, did you think that it would be this hard? And I think that's a very fair question. It's not a question I want to go to the rink and ask, right? It's a huge topic around the hockey world. I said in my article, I can only ask one thing, that the people carving up the column and the question actually read the story. Like, that's all us writers can ask for. I said this to players 100 times. I don't not watch you play and then write about how bad you were that night. I watched the whole game. So don't come at me. I've had a million guys, Jay, complain about something I've written, and I say, did you read it? They go, no, but my wife said. And I go, no, hang on.
Exactly.
Right? You got to read it.
Yeah.
And if you read the piece, I'm always respectful of Connor McDavid. No guy on earth has written more laudatory columns on Connor McDavid than me right here. Nobody. That's just the way it is. So for me to ask, did he think it would be this hard? It's not a fun question to ask. I'd rather be asking, hey, what's it like to have 2 Stanley Cups and a gold medal? I'd prefer to be asking that question. But guess what? You can't ask that question. You can't ask it. So I asked the question that's a very pertinent question. Did he think it would be this difficult? When Sid was 30, he had 3 Stanley Cups and 2 gold medals, I believe. And when Gretzky was 30, he had 4 Stanley Cups. And this isn't me saying, I wrote about these idiots who say he's not a big game player. It's a total ridiculously stupid thing to say, right? I don't think that. Who would think that? But it's a very fair question. I had the nards to ask it. And if anyone wants to look me in the eye and say it's a dumb question, you know where to find me.
Yeah, I know people are like, oh, you should ask that in training camp. No, you shouldn't. You can't ask about the Olympics 6 months later, and then they're 3.5 years later. Then it doesn't. And you know what? I was surprised when people were like, oh, you know what? And I'm like, I didn't think the question was that crazy. It was just like, hey man, do you think it was that hard? And hey, you know what? I'm sure it's a fresh wound and he's frustrated. So I get all that, but it doesn't change the fact that, hey, not many guys lose 3 times in 18 months. It's brutal, but that doesn't mean you can't you can't discuss it. And yeah, he's probably not going to. Yeah, you ask a question. You know what? Doesn't mean you get the answer you want. That's not how it works.
He gave an excellent answer, though. I mean, I will say McDavid's a pro, and that. I mean, it's not very often.
Okay, so whoa. So, because the thing online says he was like, "Oh, thanks for the question." So he did actually answer it. They just probably clipped it without.
He gave me an excellent answer.
Oh, what was his answer? That changes the whole damn thing. See, there's another thing about social media that people are like, "Oh my God, McDavid didn't answer." Like absolute misrepresentation BS. So I'd like to see the whole answer.
Well, that's why I say you got to read the piece, right? And that's what happens. I don't even know who did it, and I ain't looking. But so here's how it went. For those people out there, I said to him, this is a bit of a hard question. That's how I started it. And sometimes, I almost never say that, but sometimes you warn a guy, look, this one's going to take some thought here, right? So I'm going to ask you a tough question, and that's fine. I consider that professional courtesy. I asked him my question, and he says, what did he say? Thanks for the question, or something like that. Nice or thanks. I don't even know what he said.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then he proceeded to give me an excellent answer. Right. And then I asked him a follow-up. My follow-up was like, I think I said, you're a pretty hungry guy. Can this in any way make you hungrier? And he said, hey, what am I going to do? It's got to make me, yes, it's got to make me hungrier. It's part of the process. This is what we do here. And hey, man, it's not always peaches and roses out there. And you're right, Jay. Unfortunately for McDavid and the city of Edmonton, he's suffered the defeat of 2 Stanley Cups and a gold medal game inside 18 months. I mean, find me the next guy who ever did that, and we'll interview him.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go watch the whole clip because you know what? Like, that's pretty gutless then by who's ever running the Spitting Chicklets to not put the actual answer in.
Spitting Chicklets did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the post that I saw from people. They were like, oh, you didn't like this answer because all they did was cut it off that says, oh, that's a good question. Right. And
that's got Spitting Chicklets written all over it. That's got Ryan Whitney's fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. Well, no, I don't know if I can't blame someone who didn't do it. I don't think he runs their social media team, right? Like they had some pretty big company. They got lots of guys running. He's not, looking at every clip to see which ones they put out. He wouldn't have time to do that. So, but yeah, I'd like to go see the whole thing. And all the people out there that are freaking out, maybe go listen to the whole answer. Like, oh, McDavid didn't answer it. Well, obviously he did answer it. So
read the column. It's an excellent answer. It's right near the top of my column. And the rest of the column goes on to talk about what a fantastic player he is and how his teammates are almost, his teammates at Edmonton. One thing I've gathered, and I'm sure you've got the same vibe, Jay, nobody on this Oilers team wants to be part of Connor McDavid eventually leaving Edmonton without a cup or going a long time without success. Like these guys almost have, I don't know if you could ever get someone to say it in so many words, but there's a responsibility. They want to provide for him the way he's provided for them, game after game, season after season. And that's how it feels inside that room. And I try to get that through in my piece, but you'd have to read the piece to figure that out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, it's fair. But that's pretty bush league to only cut off the first part and then not keep his actual answer. Like, absolutely. Sorry. It's gutless. And you know what? That is very, very misleading. But hey, that's what people want for clicks. And then sadly, there's lots of sheep who just believe it without actually saying, hey, what do you say? Because the actual answer, now that I see it, we'll play it on our show later just to let everybody hear the entire answer, which is always a better thing to do.
Good idea.
Spec, quickly, looking at the Anaheim Ducks, 1 point back of the Oilers, and hey, they get a huge boost tonight. Carlson comes back in. He's a point a game player for them. Hasn't played since January 10th. Like this is. I don't know if you talked to the Oilers about it. Like they have not been good starts coming out of breaks at different times the last few years. They were 0-4 coming out of Four Nations last year. They cannot afford to stub their toe here. They're in a dogfight with Seattle and Anaheim and LA.
The Christmas break killed them. They were playing their best hockey of the season. And then they took a tiny little Christmas break, and they haven't been anywhere close to that level since. So, yes, the one thing, we'll go back to McDavid, the one thing he said, someone said that we'll all remember Leon Draisaitl's words after that last game in Calgary, a 4-3 loss, and he really kind of went off a little bit before he went to the Olympics. And McDavid said, I agree with everything he said. It's time. He says there's not much time left in the season. I think he said we haven't secured anything yet. So they are well aware in that room that, hell, what are they on, Jay? A 91-point pace or something? That might not even make the playoffs.
Well, no, because they're in the playoffs and they're on that pace. So guess what? The guys below them are on a lesser pace.
Okay, fair, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
90 points. To see in a 90-point team, it's not supposed to be a 90-point team. So, yes, I don't believe there are any illusions here. This is a team that's left it to the end to kind of flip the switch. And had I not seen them do this a couple times, I would have a worse outlook on their season. But I will say this is a team that when the clutch time has come in the past few years, they answer the bell. That's their history. So will they do it again? Well, we're going to find out about that.
Spec, have a good one. We'll chat with you tomorrow.
Sounds good, man.
There you go. That's Mark Speck. The Spec Report brought to you by GS Construction.
It's already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium one-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 one-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Your furnace is dead. It's time to replace it before winter crushes you. Legacy Heating and Cooling is practically there already.
Yeah, we're working in your basement. Doing a replacement. The work is so earnestly building your legacy.
With no payments and no interest for 1 year, you gotta call Legacy. Replacing your dying furnace before it's too late, that's how you build your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
The longest running basketball show in Canada airs every Saturday morning at 10 on Sports 1440. Hoop City with Paul Sir introduces a new generation of basketball talk, and it's right here on Edmonton's home for sports, Sports 1440.
McValue meals are here. Get the McD's you love for $5 plus tax every day with your choice of a McDouble, Junior Chicken, or Chicken Snack Wrap with small fries and small fountain drink. All for just $5 plus taxes. Canadian restaurants. Product availability varies. Prices exclude delivery.
Considering an EV, Subaru is the right choice. Discover their latest electric vehicle innovations, starting with the brand new Solterra, in stock and ready to test drive. Or the Trail Seeker, an EV at its core, a Subaru at heart, and built for adventure. Or the Uncharted This Sporty, all-new small compact SUV brings new levels of driving enjoyment to the all-electric space. Right now, Subaru is offering interest rates as low as 0.49%. Welcome to electric. Welcome to Subaru.
Salvi Group is celebrating 50 years of building homes and communities, and we want to share the celebration with you. For a limited time during our 50/50 event, you'll enjoy 50% off select packages. That's special savings, select upgrades, and added value, all designed just for you. Build new or move in sooner at Hillshire. There's never been a better time to call Hillshire home. Celebrate with Salvi Group and enjoy 50 years, 50% off. Visit Hillshire today. Salvi Group, 50 years of craftsmanship, quality, and commitment.
Hey, Edmonton, did you know a local Play Alberta winner scored over $500,000 on Mega Jackpots Ocean Bells? Think about the season tickets you could lock down with that kind of cash. From major casino winners every hour to jackpots worth millions and hundreds of popular games to money that stays in the province, there's never been a better time to sign up for Play Alberta. Download the app today to get started with casino, sports, and lottery all in one app. Must be 18 plus to play. When you gamble, use your game sense.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan for all your residential water needs. Your local water treatment company. More than just big bottles. Culligan.com.
The Jason Gregor Show. The best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
526, welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching the show. Hope you're having a lovely day. Oilers back at it in about 3 hours and 15 minutes will be the puck drop tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. Tristan Jarry starts. McDavid's playing. Of course, we've said this all week. McDavid was playing. He'll be with Hyman and Nugent Hopkins. Draisaitl with Roslovic and Savoy, who was recalled earlier today. Now that they have the cap space to do it. Henrique centering Podkolzin and Frederick. Dare to dream, dare to dream. Aligned with some tenacity, at least on the wingers. And then you have Lazar centering Janmark and Mangiapane. Other news around the NHL tonight, Tyler Myers is being held out of his game because of a pending trade. So there you go. Tyler Myers likely will be on the move from the Vancouver Canucks. Big right shot defenseman, makes $3 million. He'd be an option as a second pair right D-man for the Oilers. There might be some you'd think are better options, sure, but he would still be one. And he is out. So I think there'll be lots of teams looking for right shot defenseman, big right shot defenseman with playoff experience. Guy can move. It's not a lot of them. So teams will be looking for it for sure. Now let's go in the room, brought to you by Action Electrical. 53 years in business. They become one of the most diversified electrical contractors in Alberta. In project, service, testing, and solar. If you're looking for solar, get payback periods from 6 to 8 years or even better. They've already installed over 300 of them. Check it out, actionelectrical.net. As the Oilers are in Anaheim, and the Ducks are only 1 point back of the Oilers with some games in hand. This is a big game coming out of the Olympic break. Andrew Knoll joins us from the OC Register, beat reporter for the Ducks. And Andrew, it's been 7 years since the Ducks made the playoffs, and they're right in the mix here. They're currently in a playoff spot, and they got big news today that Carlson is coming back. Let's start there. And how much of a boost do you feel that's going to give this team?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the first 2 months of the season, he was probably as good as any forward in hockey. I think he was fourth in scoring at one point. He was right up there with Bedard and Celebrini and all the preeminent players of that kind of generation. So obviously you get your number one center back, you get a guy that was producing at that level. And this issue he had with his thigh was directly related not only to his absence for 3 weeks or so before the break, but the tail off that he had prior to that. I think there was some issue getting it diagnosed and how they were going to treat it. And it was very touch and go, but it was painful for him. It was limiting for him. You could see it. He was visibly affected. So to get him back now, after they've also tightened up defensively, that's an enormous boost for him.
Yeah, no question. You look at them and Pat Verbeek, how aggressive do you think he's going to be here in the next 9 days leading up to the deadline?
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting question because you look at their team, they don't have a glaring need. I saw that they've moved Seneca to the right wing. I think a right shot that plays right wing other than Terry might have been one of the things that people were suggesting. A center who can match up defensively and win faceoffs is another thing. Possibly a stalwart on the back end, but none of these are real clear. I mean, they have a numbers game, especially with their young defensemen. They've got 8 guys that they've used at different points, and they've got a couple more in the minors that are pretty talented. So, they can kind of explore different opportunities and go for what they think will kind of click things into place best. I do think they will make a move. I mean, they've been sellers all 4 years under Verbeek. It's been a long time since they've been an aggressive buyer, as you mentioned, 7 straight seasons outside the playoffs. So I do think that they will make at least one fairly significant move, but there's not, one particular area or position where they need to make a move.
Yeah, well, I would look at it. They give up a lot of shots, and even with Dustal playing well, they give up a lot of goals. They've got some veteran D, but they've still got a lot of young D, and I guess that's kind of the growing pains for this team. So, do you think that doesn't he even just have to send a slight message, even if it's just like a depth guy, to say, "Hey, we're looking we believe in you guys to make the playoffs"? Because I think whether or not I don't believe they're a cup contender yet, but there is a big advantage in gaining some playoff experience for a young team.
100%. You're absolutely right. I mean, they absolutely need to send a message that says we're going for it. I think they've done that to a certain extent with the Quindle hire and not flirting with the cap floor as they have in recent years. But still, I think last year it was a little bit deflating when they didn't make an acquisition. And additionally, they traded Dumoulin. All of that deal worked out pretty well for him, as things have gone. But, that was a blow to morale. Some of the guys would say it in a low voice. And then when you talk to people inside the team privately, I do think that was a little bit discouraging for him, even though they finished out the year admirably. There's no question that they should be looking to make, like you said, a depth guy at a minimum, but I think they should be looking at a fairly significant one. And they have plenty of cap space still. And as you said, they are trying to tighten up defensively. I think if you look at the period where Carlson, Terry, McTavish, they had a number of injuries up front, they made some adjustments to protect the middle third of the ice a lot better, and they improved defensively. But is that sustainable? You'd like to solidify that. So I do think that they'll be looking for something more on that side of the puck, either a centerman who can match up and win draws, or a veteran defender, especially with both Trouba and Gudas in contract years.
Yeah. Well, you look at Gudas, and I guess maybe it's good they're not playing the Penguins. Penguin fans will be riding. Although I watched that replay, and Crosby, unfortunately, just kind of stepped on the stick, and that's what causes a foot to slip out. Very awkward motion, which sucks for the Penguins. But Gudas and Trouba are the veteran guys. Hard nosed. You play hard. How much of they're not the most skilled guys. There's no debate on that at this stage of their career. But how much do you think that has rubbed off on this team, and learning that how to compete every night, even in the tough areas of the ice?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the hit on Seda, he had no problem with it. I saw his comments this morning. Didn't think it was something where Radko needed to reach out or anything like that. It's just unfortunate, and of course, unfortunate for the Canadians. More fortunate for us down here. But I think that competitiveness and their professionalism has helped, and having a captain too. They were without one, from Getzlaf retirement until last season. Gudas has done an admirable job in that role. I think it's not something that was projected for him early in his career, but he's handled it very well. And Trouba's come in and brought that experience as a Messier Award winner, as a former captain in an original six, very prominent market. I think that's helped quite a bit. Under Greg Cronin, there was a dissemination of the message from the coaching staff by the veterans, but there was maybe a little bit of disruption there. Not that it was Cronin's fault, that they just didn't have that infrastructure in place. Now to have a healthy Trouba, to have Gudas with the C for 2 seasons, I think that has helped a lot in the room.
Look into this matchup. The Ducks, they've only won 4 of the last 16, but if you look closer, they've won 3 of the last 5, including the last 2 in Anaheim against the Oilers. For years, they couldn't beat them to save their life, and they've had some success recently with it. And it just shows they got some young guys. They've got some better talent. Jackson Lacombe, even though he didn't play at the Olympics, is a hell of a defenseman. And, their young forward group. And then Dostap. They've got a lot of pieces here that they like. The one kind of surprise is, what's happened to Strome this year in Anaheim?
Well, he started out the season hurt, and I think both he and Frank Petrano, and maybe to a little lesser extent Alex Killorn, they've just kind of been, I don't want to say purely victims of circumstance, but that's been a big part of it. I mean, this team is a lot deeper up front. The emergence of Beckett Seneca and his sticking for the full season, that was uncertain going into the year. He's been phenomenal as a teenager. Then you've got the additions of Kreider, the addition of Granlund, who's been hurt a couple times and he won't play tonight. But when he has been available, he's given them a guy that they can move all around their top 9. They've just got a lot more depth. I mean, the last 2 seasons, they were kind of pathetic in terms of the depth that they had. They weren't going for it from a personnel standpoint. They were messing with the cap floor, selling off at the deadline, all that kind of thing. I mean, in Cronin's first year, the 59-point year, and that's a big reason they have poor records against Edmonton, against Seattle, against tons of teams in the division, because they played them 3-4 times a year when they were losing and having, sub 60-point seasons. So, that first year they had Bo Grew playing on the power play. They had, between just initial shallow roster and then injuries, they couldn't put 4 lines out there of NHL players. They can definitely do that now. And so it's been more difficult for those guys to find a role. I mean, Vetrano and Strome along with Troy Terry last year, that was their most trusted line. Now Terry's the only guy that's getting significant minutes of those three. So that tells you right there just how far they've come in terms of the acquisitions and development that they've had up front.
One last one for you, Andrew. Really appreciate your time. Andrew Knoll joins us talking Ducks. Of course, they are hosting the Oilers tonight. The overall just, kind of message from the ownership and with Pat Verbeek, they've been pretty patient overall in what they brought in Joe Quenneville, who tonight could become only the second coach in NHL history to win 1,000 games. Like he's very successful coach. I think he's got like the Scotty Bowman and then maybe John Cooper of guys who have coached 1,000 games have a better winning percentage than him. Like he's been very successful. What do you feel he's brought to the group in Anaheim this year?
Well, I think there's a little bit of a psychological factor there. And again, no disrespect to Greg Cronin. I actually think he did a phenomenal job with what he was tasked to do in terms of creating a culture and developing individual players. But this sent a message that they wanted to go to the next level. They wanted to make the playoffs and soon after have success in the playoffs. And the main thing that I think he's brought in is a little bit looser type of feel, which is strange when you go from a less experienced to more experienced head coach. You think, okay, maybe they want to instill something that's tighter and more strict. But I think he's let some of the young guys have a little bit more freedom. Of course, at times that has burdened them too, and they did have to really tighten it up coming into the break. But their season's been defined by streaks. You got 2 7-game winning streaks, a 9-game losing streak, and they've needed a stable, experienced voice to kind of guide them through those ups and downs. And I think he's done a pretty admirable job of that.
Andrew, great stuff, man. We appreciate it. Enjoy the stretch run.
Always a pleasure. Thank you very much.
There you go. That's Andrew Knoll joining us from Anaheim. We'll come back. We'll get more on the Oilers. We'll hear from Chris Knobloch and more. It's a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
It's already pretty great. But you know what's even better? 2 pizzas from Papa John's. For a limited time, get a medium 1-topping pizza for only $6 when you order any large specialty pizza at regular menu price. Whether you're feeding your family, your team, or yourself, get your next meal from your locally owned and operated Papa John's with a $6 1-top medium when you order any large specialty at regular menu price. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Legacy Heating and Cooling offers no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. So when you wake up to no heat,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
if you need it immediately with no overtime rates, if you need it immediately and want to combo it with AC,
Call Legacy. Call Legacy.
no payments and no interest for 1 year on your new furnace. It could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Need a new ride for road trips, errands, or just life on the go? Go Auto offers a massive selection with over 15,000 new and used vehicles to choose from. With over 70 locations across Western Canada, finding your next ride has never been easier. Whether it's a roomy SUV for the family, a sleek car for the open road, or a rugged truck for your weekend adventures, you'll find it here at a price you'll love. Explore thousands of vehicles today at goauto.ca.
At Fountain Tire, success is a team effort. They're committed to their team members and their customers. And that means treating your vehicle like it's their own and finding solutions that suit your needs. Because whatever the road brings ahead, they're on it with you. Visit fountaintire.com today.
What if you could hire motivated, safety-trained youth with no risk and funding to support you? At Careers the Next Generation, we make hiring easy with funded internships across Alberta in trades, IT, forestry, and more. Interns are WCB covered, complete high school accredited safety trained, and arrive ready to contribute from day one. With 42% of RAP students completing their apprenticeship by age 22, you get skilled workers faster. Spots are filling up. Visit careersnextgen.ca today.
1 in 3 adults don't get enough sleep. The Brick is here to help with deals on your entire bedroom. Save up to 50% off clearance mattresses, 50% off beds when you buy any 3 matching pieces. Buy one, get one half price on Sealy memory foam pillows, and save $100 off any adjustable power base when you buy a mattress over $9.99. Plus, check out other incredible savings in every department. Some exclusions apply. Check out the Brick at South Common, West Edmonton Mall, North Side, and downtown.
Portions of this hour brought to you by CanTorque, made in Canada, made for Canada, where extreme isn't theoretical. Find your solution at CanTorque.com.
The Jason Gregor Show, the best of Edmonton sports talk and beyond. This is Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.542. Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Connor Halley, Sports 1440, sports1440.ca, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Gregor Show is always brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Let's get into the Oilers locker room now. We're going to hear from actually, let's hear from Connor McDavid. So, do you have a specs question, Cons?
Got Connor's answer with a follow-up ready.
Okay, so when Speck had asked him, basically, he said, hey, man, you know what? Did you ever think it would be this hard, to get that cup? Or is it harder than you thought to get the cup and the Olympic gold? Because obviously it came very close.
That's a nice question. Thank you. It's disappointing. I had no way around it. We could be sitting here having a totally different conversation. Things have gone a little bit differently. So, it's hard. It's hard to win. It's hard to win at any level, especially when we're talking about the best of the very, very best in the NHL and the Olympics. So, margins are very, very small, and we obviously saw that on Sunday, and we felt the effects of that here in Edmonton from time to time.
You're a pretty hungry guy. Can it make you hungrier?
It's all part of the process. I mean, that's what it's got to be, what other option do I have?
Yeah, it's true. Well, what other option you got? You got to keep going, right? Like, it's not gonna wilt. No chance. And for all the people, McDavid was so upset. No, he wasn't. If you actually listen to the whole clip, all these people that were texting in, and guess what? Magically, none of them are. Well, actually, that's not true. One did. Lance apologized. Hey, you know what? I was wrong. I didn't hear the whole clip. Right? You always got to be like, it's pretty sad when you have a big outlet like Spitting Chicklets just blindly, copying something without even taking 2 seconds. Say, is this the full clip? Play the full clip. McDavid, hey, just made a joke about it and then answered the question. He wasn't mad. He wasn't hurt. Like, that's the problem nowadays. Oh my God, we're so sensitive. And all you whine, the people whine like, no one ever asks a hard question. Oh no, that was too hard. What the hell do you want? How about play the full clip before you comment on it? Because now you look like a fool. But most of you won't have the guts to even text back in and apologize. They're like, you better fire Speck. He should never come on your show. Like, give me a break. So the minute you did, even if you didn't like the question, you want someone fired because you disagreed with the question? Grow up. My God, grow up. Don't ever suggest, you know what? If you don't want to listen to the station because we have Speck on, good riddance. Good riddance. I'll tell you that flat out. If you think I'm going to cater to people who whine because they didn't like a question, and guess what? You didn't even hear the full answer. So I'm just saying, like, anybody who thinks you're going to run your business that way, anonymous person had their thin skin hurt. They didn't even know the full answer. And then they want you to fire someone. Get the hell out of here. So there we go. Anyway, let's hear a little bit from Chris Knobloch. And first of all, do you come into the game at all with any limitations of how many minutes you think you might play with McDavid?
Yeah, playing the back-to-back after the Olympic break, we'd like to limit that. And we're going to need our other lines to step up and play, a significant role, and being able to keep their head above water and playing well. But just after the Olympic break and going into this back-to-back, it's very important that we don't play those guys, mostly Draisaitl and even more importantly McDavid, because he was the last one to play, that their minutes aren't really high.
Yeah. But, and there's a but. Like I said, if there's a ton of power plays, and I know that's pretty rare. The Oilers aren't a team that generates a ton of power plays, oddly enough. But, if you get into a significant power play time, then the minutes will go up. But they're not harder minutes. You got back-to-back situations tonight. Hey, the only time to load up McDavid and Draisaitl might be the last, if they're trailing 3-2 in the last few shifts of the game. Sure. That shift after a penalty kill, I understand it. No reason to it. None at all. Keep them separate. I actually think it's better. I've said that for quite some time. So I get why you load up every now and then. I don't like doing it early in a game. And you got the Anaheim Ducks, a team who gives up a fair amount of chances. So Matt Savoy is back for Bakersfield. He was only there for one game, and he wasn't there due to any of his play in the NHL. He was there strictly for salary cap reasons. If you don't know, the Oilers sent Savoy down last week because when they wanted to activate Henrique today, at the time, they didn't have enough money to have both on the roster. But by putting Savoy in the minors, they were able to be under the salary cap and accrue cap space for a week. And that week of accruing cap space allowed them to go from having a $775,000 player to an $886,000 player. And that's why Matt Savoy is back. So when he got sent down, it had nothing to do with his play. And he'll start on a line tonight with Draisaitl and Roslovic, and Knobloch talked about Savoy.
He's, Matt's been playing really well. And the line before the break with Rosie, Szymanski, and Sabby had been playing really well together. And I think Rosie and Sabby have really developed a lot of strong chemistry. And we've had numerous players play with them because Rosie was playing center and we rotated some wingers with them. Mange was one of them, some other guys. But those two together have been really hitting it off. So tonight, it's not going to be Szymanski, probably a little bit of an upgrade with Draisaitl. So hopefully they can continue playing their game and, chip in with a goal or two.
Well, that would be nice, right? Like, hey, Matt Savoy, he's on pace to score 13, 14 goals, right? He's a rookie, and he leads their forward group in time on ice on the penalty kill. Smart player, right? And this is an offensive-minded player, and there's a great example of a guy who, when he went to the American League, you know what? He looked at it, this is an opportunity for me to enhance my NHL opportunities. I'm going to kill penalties in the American League. I'm going to get good at it. And he did. And now he's in the NHL on a contending team, and he's got the most minutes on the penalty kill. And now with Henrique back, those guys, when they're together, they have really good numbers on the PK. So it's a no-brainer that you're going to play those two together. And I think when all things are said and done after the trade deadline, maybe even before, I think you'll probably see Henrique and Savoy play a lot of 5-on-5 time as well because they're on the second unit power play and they're on the penalty kill. It's kind of easier to keep them in rotation. Knobloch also asked about the race in the Pacific Division, and this team has struggled. Let's be honest. The Oilers have struggled coming out of a breaks. So the fact that they're in this race, it's so tight, and they're playing all three teams in that race, can that benefit them to maybe get off to a better, quote, start out of the break?
When there's a push to win hockey games, it pushes you to be better, kind of gets you ready for the playoffs because you have to play that playoff type hockey. It's a win now moment. And, we've been in this situation, since I've been here. First year, a little bit more in the middle of the season. We were able to win enough games where we were able to coast a little bit into the playoffs. Last year, I know this time of the year, we were sitting on that cutoff line where we need to win some hockey games. So this year is going to be right down to the it's going to be a battle right to the end. And you look at all the teams that are trying to get in the playoffs. All these teams feel that they're going to make the playoffs. There's going to be a handful that aren't going to. So, we feel that among other those teams that we're going to be one of those teams to get into the playoffs. But we're going to have to play with some desperation and some really good hockey down the stretch.
Well, he's bang on about that. And I don't know. Cons, what's your gut? What's your feel on the Oilers and how they're going to come out of this break?
I'm interested because, like we've talked about, the last few starts to the season, it's been slow. After the Four Nation face-off, a little bit slow. I think you just have to look back to that. And for the Oilers, find the little things you can do to provide some sort of spark. If you are someone in the bottom six right now, I think this is your time to shine. And, Trent Frederick would be a key guy for that. Vasily Podkolzin, go out there. If you're Frederick, maybe you drop the mitts, maybe you throw a hit, do something just to kind of get things going. Obviously, you can't put your team in a bad position. I think a good start to this game is obviously a good way to start the backup of the regular season. But history tells me it won't go good. But like we did in our predictions, I think they're going to find a way to get the win tonight and hopefully be a little motivated down the stretch here with Connor McDavid getting back here. And I think this is also an opportunity for players around that team to look and say, hey, he's going to be a little fatigued. Leon Draisaitl might have some fatigue. We're fully rested. This is the time for us to step up and make some plays.
I have a sneaking suspicion that the Edmonton Oilers, who have been fairly inconsistent, they started out terrible, then they were great for 25, and then they've been awful for the last 8 games. I know they won 3 of them, but they won with just leaky defense and terrible penalty kill. That I won't be surprised if Edmonton comes out of this West Coast swing with 2 out of 3 wins at all. Now, it won't be easy because they get Dostal tonight. And then Kemper's not playing tonight for LA because Vegas is resting all 5 of their Canada and U.S. Olympians. So Forsberg is going to start for LA tonight, and Kemper will start tomorrow for the Kings. Now, the Kings and the Oilers both playing second half of back-to-back. Edmonton's in Anaheim tonight. It's not like they're traveling. They're taking the bus back, right? So it's not a hard travel day, really, at all. The only difference is their game starts a half an hour later. That's really the only difference between them and the Kings. So fatigue should not be a factor really whatsoever between the two clubs. And then the Oilers going to San Jose. Now, that one might, I know it sounds strange. The Sharks, I think, we're kind of floundering a little bit, but it is third game in 3.5 days. That one might catch up with you more than the second half of the back-to-back. I actually think the second half of the back-to-back game might be a crisper game for both teams because the majority of guys haven't played in 3 weeks. Like, I think we could see some sloppy hockey a little bit, some missed passes and timing off a little bit tonight. So we'll see. Coming up 7 o'clock tonight, you got Walker and Paulson in the pregame show. Enjoy the game. We'll have postgame reaction and lots more tomorrow. Also set up the Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. On behalf of Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Have yourselves a fantastic Wednesday evening. Let's get to the Con Man Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. Furnace breaks down late at night or on the weekend, call them. We'll fix it. No OT. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. Good night.